And howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon, our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign that we get to share with you on Twitch. I'm Joe Treff, your Dungeon Master for the evening, and joining me, as always, are Matt, Miles, Allie, and Tina, my friends who also are quite often very distracting. We have a couple of announcements before we get into the actual D&D. First of all, if you haven't already, definitely check out our Instagram, where we have some really cool art called The Duality of Heinrich, featuring Miles' character Heinrich, done by Dibidoop, who is Sophie Bischoff. So Dibidoop on Instagram, Dibadoep. Check them out. Unbelievably talented. They do these beautiful paintings. We have the actual physical paintings as well. Once we move into our actual studio and are back in person, those will be kind of hung out in the back, and so you'll see those as well. Also on Instagram, I finally finished the map of Dominion, the official one, which took a very long time, like 2.5 months. It's huge. It's like 18 by 24 inches. It's packed with loads of little Easter eggs. There are references to the mythology and religion and history of Alberon. Many things that have been mentioned within the campaign, some that have not. But there's even like tiny little Easter eggs. You can see like in certain parts of the forest, there might be an animal standing in like a tree's shadow, and that represents something. Everything means something, but not everything is important. But check that out on Instagram. And then session 55 will not be played next week, October 9th, because Allie and Miles are unavailable, but worry not. In its place, we're going to run an original one-shot, which is called The Frostline. It's going to delve into the backstory of a very young Shae. I think Shae's going to be 14 years old.
16,
It's an original level 16. It's an original level 3 one-shot, which is going to be a canonical part of Shae's backstory. It has technically already occurred in terms of our campaign, but we're going to go back and live through it. Tina, of course, will be playing the 16-year-old Shae. Matt will be playing... Matt, any ideas?
I'm thinking about it.
Fair enough. Matt's thinking about it. And then we're going to have a special guest who is going to join us for the very first time. It is good friend of the stream, Ariana. And I will let her introduce her character next week. But it should be a really, really fun time. It's always fun getting to do something a little bit different. And this is definitely going to be more of like a Feywildy campaign. Still set actually very close to where you guys are now. Only about 80 miles away through a lot of mountains, so several days. But you guys still very much where you are. So that'll be super cool. There's going to be a lot of surprises in store, which I think is going to make for a very, very fun one-shot. But speaking of which, we also have a store. Shirts are available in both the Alberon logo and the Finger Gang logo. There's also a whole slew of channel rewards, which you can actually see at the bottom of the stream. Everything ranging from uncovering bits of Alberon's 4,000 years of history to casting Speak with Dead in a character that has died over the course of the campaign. So lots of fun things that you can do. And then finally, we use Sirenscape for all of our music and our sound effects. Sirenscape is a great digital tool set for dungeon masters or players, or if you have a child's birthday party and you really want to get their attention, strong thunder sound effects always do the trick. So Sirenscape, definitely check it out. And I believe that is the last announcement that we have. And I timed that perfect with the music, although it was not at all intended to be that way. And so with that, we can get back into our recap. We get our appropriate music here. Finger Gang. When last we played, you found yourselves in the artificial daylight cast from a crystal high atop the Dawnfather Ziggurat. Hailed as heroes for slaying Kindscale, the Scaled Nightmare, Guntir, you found your friends asking questions about your past, which, up until now, was sort of an unbroached subject. Guntir, you explained that you had split from your people many years ago, and upon your return discovered the land to be poisoned and not a body to be found. Morwen, you brought up Brunhilde, the name that you heard Guntir call out while seeming to hallucinate within Kord's temple, almost a month and 1,200 miles away, or a month ago and 1,200 miles away, and asked if Guntir had been married. He responded, no, we were never married, and then those close enough saw a single tear slide down the folds and wrinkles of the 287-year-old dwarven's face, the cataract-clouded eyes making it nearly invisible. As a group, you decided to attend to Helia Coldrot's body, You entered the Rune Carver's temple, a temple to the dwarven god Volcana, a neutral god whose neutrality was represented by her domains of both life and death. A beginning and an end, which many dwarves believe to be representative of a sort of spiritual reincarnation. You met Heinrich, who you guys immediately began to butcher his name, so it took actually a little bit to remember, but a traumatized young dwarf who had signed up to be an undertaker for the wealthy and had instead found himself dressing corpses mauled by giants, goblins, and worse. After spending roughly an hour negotiating a funerary package, taking great pains, truly monumental pains. Pains of such mass and or volume have not been seen, in fact. But after taking approximately all of the pains, you departed, settling on a sapphire-encrusted onyx urn. With the rite of the Rune Carver, a list of none of the great acts that actually Helia accomplished, but solely populated and created by Morwen and Guntir, many of which involved saving orphans. You paid extra to have acolytes of the Rune Carver traverse Kol Tiram from the glitzy ring of gold to the still contested ring of copper, itself buried in about 4 feet of ash, entire neighborhoods enveloped in a hellscape of broken buildings, charred dwarven skeletons, and tell the tale of Helia Koldrat, the hero of Kol Tiram. You utilized one of the gold glows, whose gold blonde hair makes her easy to spot amongst the other Kol Tiram dwarves, to fetch a pair of boots for you, Heinrich, bacon for you, Morwen, and a full set of plate mail for you, Guntir, at long last bringing your AC above 13 and perhaps allowing you to see a 288th year. You rested and dreamt, except for you, Heinrich, who had a late-night visitor. At long last, Uriel's watch made contact with you. In the guise of Nazara, an elf whose hair seemed to almost glow a celestial teal in the moonlight, and who's exhibited a similar magical ability to Heinrich. Her skin nearly the same color as well, she was clearly a mountain elf, like Aira or Hylan. She warned you of many things, that some pillars will slumber, but 2 already have been activated, though you knew of the Pillar of Scales, the one that you failed to stop, thus unleashing dragons and their kind back into the world. You were told about the Pillar of the Aberrant, and that it too had been activated. Guntir, I believe, you drawing the connection back to the Crotego so many months ago. She expressed that the new threat lay to the south. You'd all heard bits and pieces of this floating about, but Nazara took these splashes of stories and painted a clearer picture. The creatures held for hundreds of years within the gated marsh had ruptured to the west. Entire communities across that coast have gone dark, the largest of which is the slaver city of Darkpool. Uriel's watch travels south, and Nazara asked that you do the same. But, Shae, as you told the group that you could not leave the north while Juruxa remained at large, the name seemed to cause a visible reaction. And as Nazara stepped to the windowsill of your second-story accommodations within the Alkin, she turned and spoke one word to you in Zinyi, which meant come. She dropped out of sight, her plate mail not making a sound. And that brings us to tonight. Finger gang, you stand or sit within the large common room of the ambassador's suite. Though a flame burns within the large circular hearth in front of the table you gather around, a chilly wind blows through the open window. What do you want to do?
Immediately out the window after I'm not saying a word.
All right, so Shae.
I think we should all sit down and have it. Where'd Shae go?
Shae, you vault through the window. For those of you watching, that chill is replaced for just an instant as she fills the window and disappears. Shae, you drop without an issue. It's only about 40 feet. No problem. Your knees bend, your legs tense to compensate for the weight of dropping, and you don't see Nazara. You see the faintest bits of grass depressed and springing back, but you look up and you can see just the faintest glimpse of one gold eye and one black before they disappear onto the roof of this 3-story structure. And then suddenly you see 2 legs swing over the side, and the eyes again appear. She is sitting and seems to be waiting.
Following.
Okay. Make an athletics check. You can go...
Athletics or acrobatics?
Really much inside. Acrobatics, that works.
That's 21.
Yeah, no problem. You leap, vaulting off of these elements. This building is some kind of a residence, gray brick and whitewashed trim. But no problem. You scale the full 75 feet. It's an instant for you. You get to the top and you see, still sitting, her face follows and looks up, you now standing above her. So what do you know of this Druxa?
I know a hint of his history. I have been told that in his youth he was an assassin, and that upon the birth of his daughter he had a change of heart.
It was the mention of a girl that made me think what you say might have some validity. The name Druxa is not unique. But I don't know many of the first-hand details. This happened sometime before I was born. Watchmaster Pelmier is much older than I. He was a boy when the fall happened, and the way he speaks of Druxa holds an ominous respect that makes me uncomfortable to hear. After getting the dwarves out of Colterom, my heart was set south, and you can see she kind of looks down again. Shae, you notice this is sort of occurring within one shaft of moonlight. Maybe there's 3 that fall across the roof of this building.
Mm-hmm.
But she looks back up at you after a second. When he was in the south, before the fall, it was said that Druxa sought out the help of demons and devils. That is what drew the old beneath the ice and the ocean. In this time of trouble, if he has somehow reappeared, there are many forces which he might ally himself with.
Indeed.
She stands up at this, the top half of her body rising above the shaft of moonlight, casting her Save the Gold Eye into darkness. She looks down, golden eye gleaming at you. Your friend Guntir spoke of maggots.
Yes.
Have you heard of the name Azra?
Yes, I have.
You could see the gaze again drift off and very much towards the window of the Alcon. You can see still open. If her influence has wormed its way from her prison in both time and space, it means she will use it to try and gather an army of followers strong or skilled enough to free her. Druxa makes an ideal candidate, and I do not know that Dominion could survive Druxa. Never mind an alliance between the two.
No.
She holds a hand down and offers it to you.
To that end, I am looking for something that may help. Perhaps you've heard of it. The Staff of Twisted Fates.
She seems to consider this for a second, and you can see the eyes squint and narrow. She seems to be looking and trying to recall, but she shakes her head. This is not something that I'm familiar with. What is it?
Legend has that it is a staff that was used once before to repel the star when it fell long, long ago.
Aurelian's star.
Yes.
If this is the real Druxa, and I believe from what you've said that it is, do you believe that he has access to the staff?
He could.
Very well. I still must travel south, bringing this, and she gestures, and you can see in the darkness now especially, this faint glimmer of a sort of bluish energy that you know comes from the shard of Aurelian that has been embedded into the skin of her neck. Bringing this closer to her will only place us all in peril. I will put distance between me and him. However, Jeruxa must be stopped. It pains me that I may not help, but you and your friends, including Heinrich, will stop him. You are right that it would take precedent. I do have but one request, if you are willing.
Yes?
If you are not to come south, this changes much. I would ask of your Aarakocra friend to deliver a message to Dungannon.
What's the message, and to whom?
Roll a persuasion check.
It's an 18.
18.
Wow.
Her eyes narrow, and for a moment you see a glimmer of magic. This spinning into life, very similar to Heinrich's magic, a teal celestial glyph, like one of the elements of magic from Doctor Strange, spins into a disc, and it slowly goes over her face, firm at first, but then like a mask, adheres to the individual features, and suddenly the face shifts. It is human. Dark skin, curly black hair, thin eyebrows. The nose is thin and tall. The right nostril has a hoop of gold through it, and over the right eye there is a thin line that is missing in the eyebrow, so that the tail of a fox tattoo can drop through and then elongate around and under the eye. Find him and tell him, do you speak Elvish?
Not very well.
Well, this may be lost on you then, but Der Venerbe Verricht Erik Sinch Norden, Hilfe most Waten. Do you know these words?
Would I know any of those words?
Make a flat intelligence check. You don't know a ton of Elvish.
I don't.
I would say you do know, because of where you're from, Norden is the Elvish word for north.
That's an 11.
An 11. You hear the north.
Okay.
Some other, random jumbled bits of words. The problem with Elvish is it is very different than Zindi. The sentence structure is different, the language is different, the sounds are different. So it's difficult to parse meaning from.
Got it.
But she nods and says, this message will explain that there's a great danger here as well, and that the help that would be provided from you must wait. This man, and she gestures to the human face that she now wears, is Teichfold, a member of Uriel's Watch.
I fear some of your message may get lost in translation, as my Aarakocra friend also does not speak Elvish. Do you have some sort of method of transferring it so that he can carry it south?
I could write it, but it makes me nervous to put it in writing. I will think on it. I could always send him a message once he reaches the destination.
I will ask him.
That would mean a great deal, and it would bring comfort to the fact that you all will not attempt. But please do not mistake this for the danger in the south no longer mattering. It is very important.
No, it is, and do not also take this as us having made up our minds. Jeruxa is a great threat, and one I don't think we can face at this moment, unprepared.
What do you need to be prepared?
The staff.
Well, if he has it, that would make it quite difficult to become...
It's in pieces.
Well, if he has all of them, then it would be equally dangerous, or even part, I would imagine.
Most likely.
Speak to your friends, and if you do end up going south, the next time that I contact you, we can make arrangements then.
Very well.
She hesitates and for just a second seems to be about to say something else. Oof. Thank you, Shae. The face begins to kind of shift back into her own.
For what?
For giving us options.
Of course.
And she begins to walk across the roof. You see her pass once into darkness and then again through one of the shafts of moonlight. And then, as soon as she leaves, she never reappears into the third.
I'm gonna stand and watch until I'm sure she's absolutely gone, and then
Make a perception check.
slowly make my way back. It's a 30.
30. You wait for 1 minute, for 5. You're about to turn around. You haven't heard anything. But to your eyes, Shae, these golden, almost hawk-like eyes, you see distantly in this dark, all the way across near the Temple of the Rune Carver, actually, Nazara kind of walking in a. She's attempting to be hidden, actually, but you see her, this ranger, who is able to meld into the shadows. Maybe not as well as Morwen, but pretty well. You see her quietly walking along the side of the path. She's pretty far away.
Okay.
Jesus.
Shae could ruin Batman's exit. Like, that's,
Yeah, that
watch him.
seems so, like, not graceful
Yeah.
anymore.
It's sort of like dramatic exit, and then you see her picking her wedgie like 100 leagues
yeah,
away.
it's weird.
She just litters.
She's like texting somebody.
Yeah. But damn, okay.
Slowly wake my way back. I'm not in a
So
hurry.
while all this is happening, Shae is gone for about 20 minutes. Is there anything that you guys are doing in the meantime? Kind of, you're all left in this central room. It is warm from that fire behind you, but every now and then, this window's still open. There's a colder breeze that's coming through.
So, anyone gonna go shut the window?
Well, she's bound to return through it.
Oh, we'll open it now. It's chilly.
Go stand closer to the fire.
I'm gonna lean over out the window to see if I can spot anybody.
Make a perception check.
I'm gonna go over and when
Push
she's
me?
done, I'm gonna shut the window when Morwen's done, but also guidance.
Okay. So as you look out the window, you feel these kind of clammy hands.
Be like,
30,
Get
20.
out of the way. I gotta shut this.
Given where they are, we'll say that you go over sort of right as Shae is going up, so you actually see, you do not hear, even though it's only maybe 100 feet away, Shae up the side of the building and then vault over. You would see the portion of the conversation, although not here, where Nazara is sitting with Shae. Given her stealth roll, when she stands, you lose sight of her. You see Shae for a little bit longer, but then when Shae 2 stands, you lose sight of her. Window shut.
Thaumaturgy it open. Guntir, come on. Our friend, nope. Just back and forth for like a minute. I feel like we would do this for a minute, and then I'd.
Shae, every now and then, as you watch, making sure that Nazara has truly departed, you hear behind you about 100 feet of the shutters flicking against a window frame that outlines it. But so you do that for a little bit. As you guys are arguing, Shae, you make your way back. Now, both the sort of mysterious aura of Nazara and also the sort of serene quiet of the night, both having been dispelled, you make your way back to the Alkin and into the ambassador suite. Are you going in like the front door and walking up, or are you
No,
just?
I'm going through the window. Yep.
Okay. So
Same way I went
Guntir,
home.
you slam the window shut, and Heinrich opens it, and you slam it shut, and Heinrich opens it, and as you turn to slam it shut again, Shae just makes her way quietly in.
See? She could have done that herself.
It's rude.
It's cold.
Well,
Is
now
it
you can
chill?
close it because she's here.
Now you can
What
shut
time
it,
of night
Guntir.
is it?
What time is it, did you say?
Yeah.
You look out. Difficult to tell. The artificial daylight has not been turned on. That crystal does not glow with the daylight sun. Sometime during the night, but really difficult to tell.
Ugh, I'm drinking some of that fancy stuff. I pour myself a glass, just like
You
welcome
go
back,
over to the
Shae.
liquor cabinet and you take out this real nice old 100-plus-year-old
Well, my deep
liquor.
sleep was interrupted, so now I'm a little crabby.
Yeah, I'm gonna stomp over and be like,
Pass me some.
And I'm just sitting there in my pajamas, like,
Yeah, 5 a.m. drinking. It's the best way to start the day. You guys begin to sip on this beautiful amber liquid that tastes of smoke and fire and peat and just hints of maybe vanilla. And it's very enjoyable. You feel a little tipsy at 5 in the morning.
I feel a little better now.
this feels about right. So, what'd you guys talk about?
Interesting time to leave for 20 minutes.
She asked me about Jeruxa and our plans.
What exactly are our plans?
Can't this wait until to sleep?
It's up to you.
It's like
It's
All
dark
right.
in the morning.
just let's
Shae,
Make
we
it
can
quick.
We could talk and catch them up when they're done resting.
no. None of this. We can
Okay.
talk because we'll let the kiddies go to sleep.
Yeah, what the hell is that? And like, what? We don't get a say?
Yeah.
I'm just now
Enough-
I'm getting now,
enough of
now
that.
I'm like buzzed and crabby. What the hell, man? I'm sitting right here.
Look, you said you were
I'm
tired.
awake.
I meant no offense.
Oh.
Very well.
Oh.
If you want to discuss, let's discuss.
I am going to go lay down for a couple hours. You all do as you wish, and I'm gonna walk into the other room.
Perfect.
Well, we got it.
You all
I
can
thought we
go.
were.
Oh well, I mean, if she's gonna go to sleep, then I'm just gonna down the rest of my small pour and also go to sleep.
Okay. The whole rest of this beautiful, expensive liquor, you just take
Oh
like
no,
a shot.
I just do a little. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
drink.
a
I
little
didn't like,
bit.
drink from the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shot, by the way, is like, I mean, that shot is probably worth like 2 or 3 gold. But you down it, no problem, and you proceed to go in the same direction. Shae, you can mark off a long rest if you have not done so already. Morwen, you can do so as well. Guntir, what are you doing?
I'm gonna also, after a second, be like, and then drink some more and go pass out.
No problem. The Guntir special. You
We
take.
just didn't want to be left out.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after much protest, you drink and go to sleep. The night passes without any further issue. Heinrich, is there anything that you wish to do? It's probably about 3 or 4 more hours until daylight.
I feel like I would just sort of play with Nod and start seeing what kind of tricks and training is necessary.
You're gonna attune to your owl.
Well,
So what do
just
you
sort
what
of
do you
like
do?
direct her to like fly around and land on like different things that I like look at and point at, and just sort of see what kind of deep connection that I have with this animal.
And you find that as you try to do this, it catches you pleasantly by surprise. You look to this, the kind of ornate-looking chandelier, and even as you feel the intention to will Nod up and lands onto the chandelier itself. It seems to almost share your thoughts.
And then having been able to see through her eyes before, I'm gonna take a little flight and just, look around the or the ring of gold from the window.
Okay. Presumably, you open the window and
Of
you
course.
allow Nod to fly out.
Yeah, and I don't thaumaturgy because I don't want to wake anyone up. I'll
So
gently
you-
open it with my hands.
Manually, the window. Nod flies out. You see the wings of this owl into dark, and you watch as the form passes through a shaft of moonlight and then seems to disappear. You close your eyes, And as you do so, you hear the crackling of the fire and the faint snoring coming from Gunter's room. It's actually unclear if it's Morwen or Gunter, but suddenly just mute. And you hear wind going by you at a sound that is almost uncomfortable. It is loud. And through it, you can actually hear the wind hitting individual angles off buildings, and you can hear above the sound of a bird. And the sounds are almost kind of just more intense than you're used to. Your vision, too, is quite sharp. And so as you take a huge pass over the Ring of Gold, are you looking for anything in particular?
I suppose after having gained this site, and I would just kind of do a fun, like, all right, let's fly around and do a loop or something, and then I wonder if anyone's out and about, and just kind of make a scan over, just see if any, just what mobile people are out right now.
Sure. At this time of night, there are very few. Nod primarily goes over the circular thoroughfare made of brick, and you don't see very many dwarves. Here and there, you'll see one or two. You see one that looks kind of like a laborer, who actually you would have seen previously, kind of one of the Ring of Silver dwarves that had come up and seemed to be helping gather supplies to return to the Ring of Silver. They look very tired, and it seems like they've been working probably throughout the night. And as Nod goes again around the Ring of Gold, Nod's eyes go up towards this sort of hole where above there is this golden dome that sits atop Mount Jerome. Nod flies closer and closer and
that's
up
right,
towards the top. Through the actual aperture itself, you emerge, and there is this beautiful... First of all, the wind suddenly picks up a little bit. It's colder, and you can see stars. Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of stars. You have not seen the night sky in over a week at this point. And so, Nod's eyes looking up, you can see entire swirls of distant galaxies. You can see two of the moons currently in the sky. One almost impossibly distant, and one reflecting the light of Alberon's sun fairly intensely, almost full. You see also, out on the edge of this ring, the dome itself is maybe 200 feet wide, so the base of it is quite large. But you see at the edge the silhouette of Nazara, who seems to be just kind of crouched and watching. You see this gold eye intense and kind of just scanning down to the east. She seems to be waiting.
This poor woman just wants to make an exit. And like, we're gonna find you.
I'll find that curious and just see if there's a way to have Nod perch somewhere unbeknownst to Nazara and just sit for a little while until she gets too cold. Yeah. Using her physical stats, right?
Yes.
Also, out of curiosity, I mean, does Nod look like a regular owl, or is it very obviously like, does it blend
I think
in?
it's when the light catches that it can be deceived or just like deciphered as. So
And
it's like
specifically,
distant passing glance, sure, but
yeah, it's specifically when the light hits the feathers, and much more noticeable when the wings are expanded. And then the eyes, if you look at the eyes very carefully, there's a glimmer of that celestial teal.
She rolled a 14.
Okay. You have Nod kind of flutter up and wait in the edge. So when you look at the dome itself, there is a lip where it rests upon these stone columns. And you have Nod rest into the lip. You feel Nod kind of fade into the shadow. And there Nod waits, and you watch. Every now and then, Nazara stirs, gets up, walks, seems to stretch. But it becomes clear after a while that she is probably waiting for you guys to make your decision, and she's probably going to come back to you at some point. Not a lot occurs over the course of about an hour. Wait longer
So not
if
waiting
you
for
wish.
others.
No, it doesn't
It's
seem
not
to
within
be.
that time frame. Okay.
And you know that it is very hard, at least you have heard that it is impossible to enter this dome, and so you would imagine somebody entering in this way would be tough. You get the sense more that she's waiting, and then also casually keeping an eye on the surroundings of Kulturan. You watch the eyes wander across the dark tree lines and distant mountains in this range. It doesn't seem like she's waiting for somebody.
Okay. I will recall Nod and let her go back to sleep in the room.
Okay. You recall Nod, and as Nod begins to make her way back, you can open your eyes, and Nod can continue to do her own thing, but you know, no problem. Wait a little bit, and a couple minutes pass into the actual window, and a light's on your shoulder. Very light. A little chillier, but
I'll warm her up, give her a scritch.
you feel the neck kind of expand and the head butt into your jawline a little bit.
Yay, cute.
Seems to kind of shiver, but warms against you.
I think to myself, I need to get her a tiny blanket.
And when you think that, you can actually feel the feathers of Nod ruffle a little bit as she seems to enjoy that idea.
Get her a poncho.
Oh my god, little clothes, little owl clothes.
Is there anything you wish to do? It's probably about 6 a.m. at this point. You would imagine that daylight, if the pattern holds consistent, will occur in about an hour.
Okay. I don't think so. I don't have anything to ask because I'm waiting till after our discussion with what Shae had said.
Sure.
And what was told, and what she was told as well.
Makes sense. So the night comes to an end, and for you, Heinrich, being awake, you actually would see promptly at about 8 in the morning, daylight. There is no dawn, there is no rising sun. It is night, and then it is day. This artificial light from the crystal on the ziggurat bursts into life, this radiance that shines across the ring of gold. Nod, who is sleeping, kind of winces away from it. But it is suddenly quite bright. One by one, Shae, you first, then Morwen, and then Guntir. Actually, Chronic before all of you. But then, one by one, you come to, and you can find your way into the common room of the ambassador's suite.
Good
I'm
morning,
gonna do
everyone.
my morning routine.
Okay, yeah, little gun stretches, guns and grunts.
I'm gonna ta-da out of my pajamas.
As you say ta-da, the pink smiley faces spin back into metal, and all of a sudden, just leather armor.
Good morning, everybody.
I'm gonna go
What's
and
so
check the
good
front.
about it?
I'm gonna go check the front door and see if anyone is like waiting outside and doting on us like before.
Oh,
Okay,
get some bacon.
You go to the door, and as you swing open, you can see that girl who has been sort of stationed. She looks quite tired. You would have known she was there, at different parts of the night. Didn't wait there. There's no chair. You sort of heard her attending to other things within this place. It seems like she's probably, on top of just being a valet to you, also sort of does various tasks around the Elkin. But she is there, and as you open the door, she turns. Very, very wide but tired smile. Can I get you anything?
Bacon.
Breakfast, specifically.
Yeah,
bacon.
more bacon.
Of course. And she gets up and she yawns as she scuttles away. But you would imagine bacon and breakfast is close behind.
I relay that to everyone. You all have your bacon coming, don't worry.
Thank you.
So, should we...
Now,
Start-
let's wait for the food.
Oh, okay. Sure. Fine. My patience is endless, I'll say.
Sure.
I
So-
guess.
You guys want to go shopping today?
Gunter, there's nowhere to
Yeah,
shop
they
here.
don't-
Stop it. There's no shopping to be
Don't
done in this city. We've
think-
already established this.
I'm just saying, I
is
think we should,
prudent.
take a day off.
I don't think we get that luxury, Gunter.
And also,
I
and you
know.
see Chronic kind of lean into you, Gunter. There is nowhere for us to shop.
Metaphorically, like,
That
shop around, see what's happening in the city. That would just say.
You can shop
You
on
know?
our way out the door. How's that?
Well, I'm just saying. We need to, really consider our next move. So, if we
Yes.
all
So
just
you think
take a
shopping.
minute, I think we need to get out of our perspective for a bit and try to see things from a different angle. And maybe, having a light day off will help us to see more clearly.
Well, starting with the perspective idea, I do agree with that. Why don't we return to what we were maybe going to be talking about, but then put off until the morning, which it now is.
Okay, that can be we'll start with a breakfast conversation, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe we go check out one of the other rings, see if there are any nice other
Stop saying
fruit
shops.
trees we can get, Some of those apples are pretty good. Probably still some left.
Shae, what what was it that you discussed?
She asked me about Jeruxa, to which I
You can see Chronic
responded.
that just turns.
I told her what I knew, which is that once upon a time, many, many, many years ago, Jeruxa was an assassin. And he was a good one. And at the birth of his daughter, he softened somewhat, came south, found the Zinni, and has been there since.
And what did she tell you? She seemed to know a lot about Druxa.
It was before her time. She said one of her other members of the Watch knew the stories better. She said it was important that if he were here, that he should be stopped, and she was concerned that he may be a pawn of Azra.
Of Azra?
Yes.
Is there any
that's the
evidence
the
of
person
this?
you dated or whatever.
Not that I know, but she is concerned that Azra seeks skilled individuals, of which Jeruxa certainly is.
Well, aside from taking a slight bit of honor and also, I don't know, it was kind of rude, I guess. Okay, interesting. How would we be able to find out if that were true? That scares me quite a bit.
The Jeruxa I knew, growing up, his mind was broken in a way.
Like Guntir.
Hey,
But malicious, I'm sure, broken, right? This is the only way that someone like that could be
You can see
so
Chronic look
feared
over
and
at you,
dangerous.
Shae. Where we're from, he had a nickname. It was, for you, cockroach, but meant endearingly. He was more like Guntir than I think even I recognized at first. Many pranks?
well, my nickname is Slayer of Nightmares, so I don't see any sort of connection.
Jeruxa delighted in tormenting some of his neighbors.
Oh, so do I
Associates.
torment you, Shae? Oh, excuse me, I didn't realize that having an opinion meant torment for you.
This
I'm
was
sorry,
not a
now I
comment
know
on
why I
you,
deserved
Guntir.
all of those beatings.
No, everyone
Guntir.
calm down.
This
Breakfast
is
will
not
be
a comment
here.
on
You're right,
Guntir.
you're right, you're right. It's
Yeah.
relaxing day, vacation time.
Sure.
And at this, you actually hear a knock on the door.
I'll get it. And I go over and get it.
Go for
Oh
it.
wait, I have a list, a shopping list, if that's okay with all of you.
Yeah.
To give to them?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
The door
Well, if I'm not
opens.
gonna get to go out on my shopping trip, then I'll have them do it. The perks.
The perks. Heinrich, you open the door. You see the tired girl, herself holding a silver tray that she has to hold with both arms and kind of around, quite large. Behind her, there are two more dwarves, each carrying two of these similar sized trays. And into the door, there are courses after courses of food that arrive on the table. These silver tops taken away to reveal there are mushrooms that have been stuffed with some kind of like an omelet looking thing. You can see three different varieties of toast, some dark, some a little bit lighter, and with some kind of a almost like sunflower seed. There are the same types of bacon that came last time, a sort of curried bacon, something that's been cooked with like a brown sugar, and then another just black pepper infused, like very, very spicy sort. Um, in addition, there is this bacon that comes out to you with a sort of, it's like a blueberry glaze almost. So there is like a sour tart sweetness that's followed up by salt, and it's quite good. But you have a wonderful breakfast in front of you. There is, in addition to that, milk, water, and coffee put on the table. The two dwarves leave, and the little girl stays behind. Is there anything else that I can get you guys? I need to
Come
go
here.
home soon. Oh, okay.
Come here.
And she kind of walks up.
Hey, Dad, what's your name?
Oh, I forget. 1 second. She tells you her name, which I'll get to in a second when I find it. But,
Treat you good here?
yes.
Is she sincere in that?
Make an insight.
It's very important.
It's the vital parts of this. Costume.
16.
16. As far as you can tell, it's difficult because she is quite tired and she is a child.
19 actually.
19. Peering into this child's eyes, you peel away the very few layers of deception that may exist. You get the sense that she's tired. She's probably telling the truth. You also sense that, given the sort of casual attitude that she's displayed, obviously very attentive to you guys, given your status. But she's probably related to somebody who works here. So it's not probably like a paying job, but probably something that there are perks to, as you would say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give her a list of. I would like 16 ivory strips, and like as much incense as she can carry.
She looks at this list. First of all, her name is Mala. Also, I looked it up.
Okay.
Oh, listen, Mala. I got a list here. It's very important that I have these items before we leave.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it to you, and you look tired, so I think you should give it to someone else and have them get me those things.
She opens it up, and it's 16 pieces of ivory and all the incense that they can find.
Yeah, actually, and then I'm gonna take it back, scratch out 16, and just say as many pieces of ivory.
Takes the list very gingerly back.
All right.
Oh, okay.
And here, and I'm gonna give her a gold coin and be like, and that's for you for helping out so much.
She takes.
The bacon's really good.
I didn't make it, but I'll tell them. Thank you. She puts the
Okay,
gold
but-
piece away. Not overly shocked by a gold piece. You are on the ring of gold, but she
Oh, you're cheap.
nods to you. She takes this piece of paper. I'll see what we can do. There's not a lot of ivory in Kol Taram as a whole, so that might be kind of hard, but I'll see.
All right, and some of those apples. Get us a bundle for our trip.
A bundle of apples, okay.
No, the apples.
She looks behind her and kind of like around for some clue as to what you're talking about, because
They were
that's
gold, right?
Yeah, the
Gold
gold
apples?
ones. Yeah, the gold ones.
on the
tastes
Golden
like-
Terrace.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask somebody who works for the Gold Glows, but they probably would be okay with that, I bet.
Oh, you don't. Yeah. Okay, you go get someone to do that. Okay, off you go.
They're, the gold glows make me kind of nervous, but I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
I really
they
only
are.
need one because they only work every year, I think.
They work?
Yeah,
How
they
do
stop aging. Why do you think the gold glows have been able to stay here for so long?
How many? One at a time?
And granted, just as a reminder, she's an 11-year-old dwarf. So
Oh
like,
yeah, I know.
you know, okay. I don't really know how they work, but I know that Dithmay has stayed the same age since I was born.
Interesting. All right, off you go.
Okay, and she goes and still kind of looking at the list, but you see her disappear around the corner. And you guys are again left alone with your food and with Guntir.
When the door shuts, I'm gonna turn and be like, "And you all ate one of those?"
Yeah,
I had several.
I also had several. And I still have several in my bag,
Huh.
which I will now hold more closely.
Is this a dangerous thing to have one person or family in power so long, never aging?
Well,
I don't know.
that's sort of what I was hinting at when I, caused a big scene. If you don't remember in the meeting that they had.
I was there, yes, I remember.
Yeah.
And I'm also not
things.
disagreeing with you, and don't think that I ever said otherwise. More just now that sort of sheds a different light on it. But again, I still think unless we
Guntir
plan
has
to
his
live here
intuitions.
forever, it's not really much
I
that we can
do
be
believe that
bothered
we
with.
currently have larger concerns.
Exactly.
Yeah,
This town
we do
can
have the
rise and
funeral
fall as
coming
long
up.
as the world exists.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. We
Right.
got the funeral coming up, so let's
Okay, but back to it.
finish our breakfast and
No,
finish
no.
our conversation,
Yes,
and then we
yes.
go on to the next part of
Okay.
the day.
So what are we talking about?
What is our plan? Do we seek Druxa? Is this what she called you away for?
She called me away to get my perspective and to ask our intentions. To which I told
So
her.
we're automatically trusting this woman now.
I see no reason not to, for the time being.
Right, besides the shard that's embedded into her body.
That's where the "for the time being" comes in.
Right. But that's like a ticking
It's also
time
a
thing.
it's also
Everything's a ticking time thing, Guntir.
ticking time
Oh,
dynamite.
you mean like a watch?
Yeah, like a watch, but that explodes with the dynamite. Like
That sounds dangerous.
some sort of countdown.
The two
Well,
of you please.
Heinrich already said Uriel's
Yes.
watch.
Right.
That's true.
Ha! Chronic.
Ah.
Very good.
What
That
do you
was
mean?
an astute observation and a clever, unintended joke.
He seems confused.
Yeah. And I'll kind of nod and be like, never mind. Okay.
So
Um,
naive.
So back to it.
Regardless, my goal when I initially left the monastery, when I was sent initially by them to track Hyland's movements after the incident that she caused, but I agreed to it because it afforded me the opportunity to look for the Staff of Twisted Fates. That is and remains my goal. Because I don't
That
think
was
that
in
we
the-
can achieve anything without it.
That
Does
was
Guntir
one of
know
the
anything
books in
about
the
the
Lorebinder
staff?
Academy.
Yes, it was. Guntir, you've already made a intelligence check on it in the past, and you did not know anything about the staff.
Okay,
Twisted
that's
Fates.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
Keep track of these things.
I can't imagine I would have. Oh, maybe. Can I try?
Sure. Think about the staff of Twisted Fates. This thing that did not exist where you come
Did
from.
I ever try to steal that? I didn't.
What'd you roll?
A 5. I
Um,
did
Back
try to
scratcher.
steal a fancy stick. Maybe that was it. I'll keep that
you
to
think back, and
myself.
I mean, you've tried to steal so many things that honestly they do begin to blend together at a point. You're unsure, but It doesn't bring anything particularly to mind. Does the staff?
What's the staff look like? I've stolen a few staffs.
Probably twisted.
Ah, that makes sense.
It sounds wicked.
Staff of twisted fates.
No, but if I'm to recall correctly from this book that you found when we were at the Lorebinder Academy, it was quite
I wasn't
powerful.
allowed to do anything there because
No,
the
you
rock
weren't.
man was keeping me in his office.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. You had tension with Boron.
Yes, that was quite wonderful. And anywho, but what the book said, and I don't know if you know more than what was in there, Shae, but didn't it speak of being shattered?
The legend speaks that it was broken into at least 3 pieces.
So we've got to go to find at least 3 pieces of a staff now? Is that...
No, we need to find 2 pieces of the staff.
We theoretically have one.
In the
Well, where is it?
Did we tell Guntir? Or did we just try to steal it from him later? I messaged to Shae.
Message back. Just make him think I have it.
Okay. No, it's the one that Shae has. Don't worry about it. It's in safekeeping.
Make an insight check, Guntir. That's the insight check face.
Oh my, that's a 28. Get
Oh.
incited.
Shae with the 28. What does
I didn't
and
say
remember,
that. I didn't say it. Heinrich did. That was
I
message.
did.
Sure.
I'm calling
Okay.
your bluff, mister.
Can I deception it?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. My rarely used +9 out of all of my skills. Ah, poop. That was an 11. I rolled a 2.
Guntir, you get the sense that Heinrich thinks that he is being quite crafty at this moment. Worth noting, I don't believe that Guntir actually has it. I believe
does
that Shae currently has it.
Is it in the bag of holding?
It's in the bag of holding, so Guntir has it.
I have it.
You have the reliquary.
Ah,
Oh, I have the reliquary. That looks mighty staff-like.
Perhaps.
to
I'm
this
just gonna
end,
nod it. I'm gonna nod at Heinrich and make him know that I know.
So you
Okay.
watch as Guntir nods at you, one eye kind of drifting to the right, one kind of falling down. And he just keeps nodding at you. His eyes long since losing track of where you are. You should get the sense that he knows you're lying.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, regardless, it is possible that we have one of the pieces already with us.
Well,
Would
that's good
Okay.
news.
would it not be wise to seek that out? So, if I'm to understand this correctly, especially after what Mazara said, there are, as far as I know, far too many pillars for us to go and thwart the awakening of alone. We could surely try, but it seems like we should have I don't know, something in our back pocket just in case, and maybe this would be a good thing to seek first, possibly. That's just a suggestion.
Remains my goal for the time being. As
So,
of this,
do you have any leads on it? Like, we've got one.
Give
as
me
of this
a minute.
moment,
Are you sure that it's not more than 3? The
I'm not-
wording seems a little iffy.
I'm going to
It's a
take out the
legendary
book.
staff, Guntir. There are no certainties.
I'm taking out my book right now,
Okay. Sure.
and I'm going to open it, and I'm going to
Chuck it at someone.
Just
Throw
rip
that book at
down.
him.
I'm going to ask it a question.
What are you asking?
Are there... I guess I have 3 questions. So the first one I'll ask is,
Okay. That's good. That's the number you get.
yeah, are the pieces of the Staff of Twisted Fates kept in Zinyi reliquaries?
You inscribe this into your book, and you see the letters and markings themselves fall into the page and seem to almost disappear and reappear changed. And they read simply, yes.
Is the reliquary...
Little bits rise up after that.
Sure.
Save one.
Yes, save one. Okay. Shit. Do
You
we...
journaling?
What you writing?
And I wave them away. Do we...
I guess
Guntir,
it's vacation
Morwen,
time.
Shae,
Morwen, as you try to peek over the shoulder, suddenly you see Nod's head shift and turn, and the wing kind of just out and blocks what Heinrich is doing.
I peer through the feathers.
Make a
I'll let her.
perception check.
I'll let her
Okay,
do it. I'm
no
not
problem.
gonna
So
like.
you,
fake that.
you peer through the feathers. You see a bunch of writing that you do not understand whatsoever. And Heinrich just writes, and the ink fades, and that's it.
Okay.
Whoa.
The second question I'm going to ask is: do we,
I'm gonna shut the
Comma.
blinds. I'm not interested anymore.
Guntir, Shae, Morwen, Krodek, and myself, have a reliquary containing one of the pieces of the Staff of Twisted Fates? I'm trying to be very specific with this.
Sure, yeah, it's a good thing to do. The writing fades into the page and reemerges, and it states simply, yes.
Okay. And the third question. Is another one of the pieces located to the north of where we are held by anyone else at this time? Comma, specifically, and I'm gonna just guess at Drux's name because I guess I don't know how to spell it.
Okay.
I would phonetically spell it Drux, comma, the Zinyi monk.
Sure. And seeing as how, with the warlock features that you've chosen, you can
Yeah.
read any language.
Yeah.
You are pretty apt at phonetically spelling things out and figuring
Yeah.
it out. It's becoming quite easy for you, in fact.
Cool.
So, without too much trouble, you write out the message or the question. It fades into the ink, and what comes back is a little bit unnerving because it simply states, "Not yet."
I close the book and I say, I think one of the pieces of the staff is in the halls of Dharma.
Heinrich, go ahead and roll a
Excuse?
D100 for me.
Oh no.
That would explain why they were making
91.
that gay.
Nice.
That's a number. That's a high number. If that's
Sure is
good.
it sure is a number.
A D100. I can't feel good about this roll until I
Ever
know what
asked
it
your
does.
book if it knows the Chamber of Secrets? Sorry. I've just always. That's all I think about.
So with the 91, what does that do? Is it anything that I'm... Nothing? You just needed to know what I rolled?
Yep.
Damn it. Okay.
So, are we going to the halls of Dharma then? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, but Uriel seems to think that Druxa is on his way to claim a piece of the staff.
It would make sense, considering that's what they were here for.
Well, if we have one, then they can't put it all together at least, right?
But who knows what kind of power even just a piece of this legendary item has.
Well, I guess we could if we have one.
We do.
Do you think he knows that we have one?
I
They'll
don't.
find out sooner or later when the party doesn't return.
What do you mean?
The
The
ones we
monks.
killed?
I see.
The
Yeah, I don't
monks
think
that
they're
we killed here.
returning.
I see. So then maybe it wasn't yet... Maybe
Huh.
just by retrieving it, we foiled a plan, and the yet that Uriel said is that now he seeks us.
Well, the
Perhaps,
other
but
two
remember too,
pieces.
even with a reliquary, the attunement rod to it is required to open it.
Correct.
It is a
Yes.
unique facet of ore binding, and would make opening any reliquary very difficult, especially seeing as how many of them reside within the monastery itself.
Does anybody know anyone who knows a lot about ore binding? Could we maybe seek some...
The only person in this campaign that is not from a canonical one-shot that you've heard of who is actually considered a prodigy within the Fazarakian techniques was Anasu.
Yep.
Bless you. So I guess we don't. That's a no.
I'm gonna just pull out, for like shits and giggles, I'm gonna pull out the sending stone and just be like, hello?
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
pretty sure it doesn't work across planar boundaries, but I'm just thinking.
This is a thing I don't know.
I know, I don't know
think
this
it
either.
does.
I've never had two
I
sending
don't think
stones
it
in other...
does. I think they
Yeah.
have to be on the same plane.
Okay.
I'm
Shit.
fairly
So
positive.
just have to send us
I'm
one
ready.
with the bearing of the pair. Sending is recipient response to our message. Different plane. Okay, roll a d20 for me.
Okay. Just flat d20, right?
Mm-hmm.
A 7.
7. Okay.
It's a lucky number usually.
Yeah. You cast this, and what do you say?
Hello, Anasu. Are you there? Quite simple, just to see if he has the stone and I can reach him.
Okay. A little bit of time passes, and you don't hear words come back, but briefly, you do hear something emit from the stone. It is quiet. Make a perception check.
Why me?
You're the only one who can hear it, right?
Oh
'Cause
shit,
you're
I rolled
holding
20!
Natural 20?
Nice.
Yeah!
Okay, let me pull something up.
Nice.
That's why
Whoa.
you. That's why you.
Alright, well, I guess that's fair. Fuck, I rolled like nothing, no double digits on a d20 yet today.
The night's young.
I'm proud of you. This is the roll to do it on.
I hope
Yeah,
so.
exactly. If you're gonna do it, this is actually not a bad time.
Alright.
Let me pull up this because this was from a couple weeks ago. This is when you guys could have gone to the Shadowfell, which means that it is.
We still, no, not as easily at least.
Guntir broke the portal to the Shadowfell. This one that you very astutely mentioned, probably like one of those things you only find once in a lifetime.
Yeah, but
So
like we could also probably mend it.
So with the natural 20, Heinrich,
Okay.
you would hear it is quiet. You hear faint echoes of wind drifting across bricks or stones. We'll say cobblestones. You rolled a natural 20. Let me change the music here.
Cool. I'm also holding it up between my and Nod's ear, and we're both like leaning into it.
You can hear this wind drifting in this dark place. It is quiet and lonely, and in a way, almost sad. You hear shivering, you hear teeth chattering together, and in a minute, your mind brings you the image of Anasu, this tall, sort of timid elf. You hear this other voice, dry, raspy, and this is dozens of feet away. You're just barely hearing this. But you hear, "Who would bring beating hearts before the Lord? What business have ye?" And
Well, I think he's still alive for now.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, good for him.
He seemed to be entreating someone who called themselves the Lord, or
Well, that's bad.
a messenger of the Lord. Yeah, it seemed like there's some sort of deal being struck up, and I don't know. That's
Well, as a general rule, something that's in the Shadowfell is probably not gonna be
yeah.
beneficial to what we're trying to do.
Nah. Well,
So,
okay.
probably should have killed that guy.
But I liked him. Oh
Yeah,
well.
well, you know.
This then brings us to... We'll have to find at least the attunement rod, or whatever it is that you said, Croddick, that will open
Correct.
The
the
attuned
reliquary.
rod. Yes.
Right. So I'm guessing for each piece of the staff, save one, by the way, one of them is not in a reliquary. It's just kind of sitting out in the world somewhere.
Couldn't that just be the one we had?
It's in the reliquary, so I don't think so, no.
Oh, I got confused.
Okay.
Well, are you sure that it's just sitting out in the world? What if it's
Well, it
just
wasn't-
in something else?
It's not
It's
protected
not-
by a
there
reliquary,
are not-
at least.
Well, yeah, but there's
Guntir,
more than just
as you're-
the state of in a reliquary and not in a reliquary.
As you're saying this, and every time that you guys begin to talk about this, Gunter, with your passive perception, you're noticing that Croddick's eyes seem to kind of dart towards Shae.
What's up, Croddick?
What do you mean?
You giving Shae some dotty eyes. Talking
I'm
about
sorry.
reliquaries, all of a sudden you're like, Morwen with shiny things. Very interested.
Or
I think
Morwen with you.
Yes,
thank
that
you.
also.
We should talk about that sometime soon, perhaps.
Yeah, but save it for your vacation time. Like, this is discussion time, and then you can talk to each other. Do that later.
This is something for Shae, not for me.
Shae,
Good, sir.
would you care to share with the group? It seems like you're willing to share with a random stranger who comes into our window in the middle of the night.
I have shared no more with her than I have with you. Less, in fact.
Well, that seems a little insulting, to be honest. We've taken down a dragon together. I think I've earned a little bit of respect here, and a little bit of information about what's going on.
Do you have information about what's going on, Gunter?
But you're still hiding something. Don't play coy with me.
I have my secrets, as do you.
I've given you my secrets. Most of them that are important and relevant to this situation. Which you haven't.
A lot of qualifiers there.
This
Does everyone else
Isn't
know what's
helping.
going on?
this
I'm confused.
this isn't helping. We're straying farther from establishing a plan. I think we need to stick to that.
Well, the plan would be to go after these reliquaries, but I don't know what we're supposed to be doing because Shae isn't telling us something.
We need to find the other reliquaries.
Well, that seems abundantly clear.
Yes.
Would it
So,
be wise for us to go to the Lordbinder Academy, or back to Squall's End, or somewhere that someone may know about the location of these things? Here there is no one.
well,
We will likely find more information in Squall's End.
Should we return there first?
Yes.
We have the use of the teleportation circle. I mean, is there not one at your monastery?
There isn't one, right, Joe?
There is. You've never seen it. You know that it exists within the arcane court.
Mm-hmm.
You're not exactly sure where. It's not something that is often used because members of the Zinyi are pretty adept at getting around.
Yep.
It's used in very few circumstances, but should things require the Zinyi to make a presence very far to the south, there is a way to do that.
I would relay this.
I think it would benefit us to press your people for a little more information on any potential locations of pieces of this staff.
I mean, in all fairness, too,
I would agree.
if they knew all of this information, I can't imagine that they wouldn't help us and also support us by making the trip a little easier.
My original mission was to look for these reliquaries. There are a certain number of which we do know the location or approximate, but there are some that have been lost, including the breaker.
What is the breaker?
A part of the staff. As you
One
said,
of
it
the
is
pieces.
3 pieces.
They each have names.
Yes, the breaker, the maker, and the binder.
That's right. Now
Well,
I
which
remember.
one do we have?
Well, we don't know yet.
don't
It's
know.
locked up in the reliquary.
Why would you have a piece called the Breaker?
Oh,
You want it
it's
to be
locked
all
up in the
together.
reliquary that I am currently holding.
Correct.
Was that not clear before?
Oh no, it was very clear, even though you were trying to deceive me.
Well, it just seemed like a fun thing to do at the time.
Yeah, real fun. You too have a weird sense of what fun is. Lying to your friends.
You don't find mirth in the situation, Guntir.
I do not.
Well, sorry.
very
Apologies.
sad
Did
for
not
you.
mean to make it at your expense, but it was too easy that you wouldn't remember the reliquary in that new bag of yours.
Oh, I remember more than you think, bucko.
Well, good.
You guys all think back to the time that you actually peeled a layer of Gunter's memory away from him to protect him from the knowledge of kind.
Yeah. 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 I'll just do like a yep. All right.
Please also
does
note,
that-
Gunthir, that I have not asked you for it. You can continue to hold it.
Oh, so I can hold this, but I can't hold the thing that I found.
Would you
Why don't we
prefer
do a trade?
Would you prefer a trade?
No. No,
No.
because I think that this would make you more happy. And
Very
right
well.
now I am very disappointed in you, Shae.
Very well.
I'll make a big banner just goes disappointed over Shae.
Yeah, great.
Very well.
All
Or
right,
Scott
I'll-
Pilgrim.
Yeah. Shit. All right. I think
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, true. This makes me feel a little better. This seems like the beginnings of a plan, at least heading off in the direction of a new goal that
I just think that we should be
aligns
very
with this threat.
careful as long as we remain in the north. We have things that are valuable to some.
Right, which, I mean, hopefully any of the locations, and again, I'll be able to ask tomorrow. I did use as much of my, I don't even know what to call it, influence with my patron that I have for the day.
Boon that you have been granted.
Let's call it that. But, yeah. But if it takes us a little while, we travel there. We have things to do today in this city, and then we can travel to Squall's End. And then tomorrow I can ask for specifically, maybe, hopefully, the location of, or at least general direction. He is a
think I'm
trickster,
gonna-
so I don't know if I'll trust him entirely, but I so far have no reason to doubt him.
I'm gonna offhandedly use divine intervention
Okay.
Just
and
off
roll
the
my percentile dice. Just off the cuff.
What are
like,
you
"Oh,
asking?
Oh God, I really wish that this reliquary would just be open.
Okay.
I love that. Holy shit.
38.
Gunter, you think about this, trying your best to disguise this magic. All of you can see this faint aura begin to emanate from Gunter, the brand on his back igniting with an electric blue, not very subtle, and then fade. Gunter, nothing seems to happen. The reliquary remains as intact as it was.
Right.
Well,
But does this
shall we
sound
go?
agreeable? We can mill about. You can attempt your shopping, Gunter, and I'll go make arrangements with this teleportation circle potentially.
I will
Wait,
go
we're
with
going.
you.
So
As
we're going back to the squall.
Well,
aside-
Gunter, if you wish to spend money, along the Merchant's Row, there are things that you could spend it on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We go back. I get to see Gamble. We got. I got some stuff that I left with him there, so this is good.
Master Gamble
All
does
right.
seem to appreciate you quite a bit, Guntir.
Yeah, and I appreciate him because he was honest. And I glare at Shae.
And this ring isn't too bad either. And I'll just kind of like look at it and give it a little flick.
Yes, Uncle Gamble is
One
good for
force
those
damage.
things.
Yeah. Oh no. All right.
So are we going right now?
Well, I'll
Are
wait for.
We still have the funeral. Are we just? We
I
gonna?
thought the arrangements were made to have her stories that you so carefully crafted yelled about.
I
the town.
guess-
We'll just bring
Well, yes,
the urn
but-
down
True.
ourselves.
We have to bring the urn down. We have
Right.
to wait till it's ready.
And I have to return the keys to the inn and thank Cinder. That was her name.
Yep.
Cinder is the
Yeah.
innkeeper of the Gentle Repose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to try to see more ghosts.
Sure. But before that, all of that, I'll wait for Nazara, and if she still asks what our plan is, tell her that we won't be immediately joining the trek south necessarily.
Don't tell her too much, though.
That's all I'll say.
Right, good.
I agree, discretion and all of that, but
In time, perhaps, but I feel we have other
I
things.
think we need to remember that she has a shard that is corrupting her from the inside out.
right.
Literally.
She knows that too, and I would ask of her something to maybe put our minds at ease when I see her.
Well, are you gonna share what that is, or are you just?
Yeah,
gonna
it'll just
use-
be if there's any sort of way that we could maintain. Now that I
Like
am
another-
somehow in service of the same, patron,
like
some way
another
that we
bowl.
can maintain contact. Possibly, probably not that, but
Man, Heinrich's just picking up everyone's digits.
you would know it.
Yeah, he's got.
Oh,
How many
sending
fingers do you
stone.
have now?
Messaging.
How many fingers do I have? That's digits. I get it. Holy
Yep,
crap!
there it is.
Whoa! Whoa!
There it is. There
Wow,
it
this
is.
is such an
I
accidentally
hate it so
great name
Yeah,
for our group
we
now.
win!
We
Okay.
win D&D, everyone.
All right.
Good job, guys.
But right, so yes, the intention is to see if there's a way to establish a method of communication, both for our well-being and also just in case we need to track her down and find her as well. If she believes and trusts in us as well.
If she is going south, I would also like to know how.
Joe, just
do it.
I am trying to catch Kraddock's eye. In
Okay.
like that, like I have something to tell you kind of way.
Sure. He generally is looking for any kind of signs from you, so within like a second of starting that, you would catch his eye.
That's all. So I'll wait here for her. She said she would return, and then after that we would I'll
So I guess I'll go
meet up with you and
get the teleporter ready and going.
I would
We're going to
very
the
much
squad
like
and
to see it. If the way these things work, the way I understand them, I would like to copy its digits down, the runes that surround it, just for our own purposes.
I
It
can
seems
do
like
that.
an important thing to take note of.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll get to go on a teleporter ride. It doesn't happen every day.
Exactly.
Someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, free teleport." You gotta
Yeah,
take
Gunter, you
that.
especially know it's an expensive service.
How expensive is it?
It's
Um,
like a couple $100,000.
Yeah, to be teleported on a circle, you would Gunter, you would know.
Combat.
You can choose to say whatever you want to say, but Gunter, you would know that it costs probably somewhere between 1 and 300 gold, depending on where you are. And
That's
that,
like,
yeah.
It's like a couple $100 gold.
Oh wow.
It's like well, fancy cruise ship or something,
Right.
but like a lot faster, so you don't have to deal with any of the stuff that goes on the sea.
Oh, that sounds fun.
What's a
I'm gonna
cruise?
check that out.
Yeah. It's where you are on a ship, and it's for leisure, like a pleasure
Yeah.
boat.
It's
So
kind of
sailing.
like how we got here, but better.
Yeah, it's like if we didn't have annoying crewmates and terrible adventures that involved lots of death and monsters.
Yeah, if you took all of
And
that
more,
out, it was a cruise.
more alcohol. Not that much more, but more.
And better food.
Ah, no.
All right. I have already
So
explained what I would like to be doing and will be doing.
So
So that is what I
it
will
is
be doing.
at this point, roughly 10 in the morning. Heinrich, you, if you wish, can depart and head towards the Tower of Mages to consult with the Bearded Consortium.
About that, yeah.
Sure.
Was
So you...
did Nazar say when she'd be back?
Nope.
Okay. She'll find us, I'm sure.
Yeah, head towards the teleporting.
Okay, so the two of you depart and towards the Tower of Mages. Morwen, what are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm gonna follow.
Okay, Shae?
Grab some more bacon.
I grab
For the
some
road.
bacon.
Alright.
I suppose I will accompany as well, though hanging very far back so that Craddock and I can talk.
Okay. So you guys begin to walk, and as you do, Craddock falls into step with you, Shae. What do you wish to say?
Inzanyi, Nazara, the agent of Uriel, had a request for you.
And Zinyi, he responds, and what would that request be?
She wished for you to take a message to Dungannon, to a man, human, with a fox tattoo.
What do you think?
She says it is to a message to another member of the Watch, to explain the current standing of the North. The message was in Elvish, so I didn't catch the meaning.
Like you, Shae, I feel that the North needs to be protected. But do you think this is something... Dungannon I have not been to, but it is not far by wing. I could be back within a week, less.
I do not know what to feel about the Watch, if I am honest.
Nor do I. I do not sense deception, but especially after Helia, I feel guarded.
Indeed. And knowing that she has a shard embedded in her, it makes me all the more wary.
You see the feathers around this Aarakocra's neck ruffle at this, but he nods, and you can tell he is also in agreement.
They could be a powerful ally, though, and in the event that we do need their help, this could be instrumental. Though I am loath to send you, or ask you to do such a thing.
He seems to consider this for a moment. Much like the wind, we must make neither ally nor enemy. But what do you think I should do?
I told her I would ask you if you would be willing. I believe it is in our best interest to have as many allies as possible when it does finally come to a head.
Very well. Once you have decided what all of you are doing, I will make my way south. I will ask Morwen, I believe she is from Dungannon, if she has anything that she wishes to be relayed.
Yes.
You guys continue to walk, and as you do, it is fairly busy. You guys constantly now are dealing with people, patting you on the back and every now and then kind of squeezing your shoulder. It slows your process throughout any part of Coltram you would imagine. But
I'm still doing mendings and
here and there, as people come up and touch you, little bits of these cantrips flying to and from. There's a moment though, Gunter, where you do one, and it's like somebody touches you on the shoulder and you guidance, and you remember that was exactly the feeling before you shit yourself in front of all your fans. And so there is a cold chill that goes down your neck. But without too much trouble, you guys make your way to the Tower of Ages. The Bearded Consortium works out of this tower. It is opposite the Gold Terrace and the Ring of Gold, though it begins at base level. It rises. This is the tallest structure aside from the Golden Terrace itself. It's only 40 feet below the terrace. It is a structure of hollow arches. So the outside of it is a column that rises up, but the outside is these hollow arches that have windows set back. This column tapers towards a dome at the top. At its base, flanking a small circular door, kind of like a hobbit hole door, but about 10 feet tall, there are two founding members of the consortium as statues flanking this door. One male, one female. I would say if anybody wants to make a history check, you might know who they are. But you can sure.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm not gonna bother. I wouldn't know diddly squat.
Since they're made of
I
stone,
doubt it.
can I
They're
use stone
dwarves.
cunning?
If you want to know the nature of the stone itself, for sure.
I probably already know that as Guntir.
I only got a
Looking at
6
people.
pass over me.
Oh, I got a 15 plus 2, 17.
You know, Gunter, you don't recognize. So there's two dwarves. You see one huge, towering over. Like, first of all, these statues very tall to begin with, maybe 15, 16 feet tall. This one, 2 or 3 feet above the first. He has this long beard, although even in the statue, elements of it appear curled and burned. This is Vogard the Fire Singer. This is the dwarf that literally wrote the book on evocation magic, specifically fire. The other one, meek, thin, looks kind. You can actually see the statue has a snake around one of the arms and a dog on the right side. And actually, Gunter would pull your attention. There's a wombat in his hair. You don't recognize him. Old vines cover the base of the tower and the statues, but does not seem to climb past the second story. Within the tower, you can see the doors are open and is dark and smoky smelling. You can see shelves and here and there figures moving about, although very dark within. You can see faint glows coming from parts more distant within the structure. Do you guys wish to enter?
Yeah.
All right. Heinrich, you are leading, so you walk in first. You can see there are bookshelves that line this central room that you enter into, but then also the hallways that go out. This is a crowded space. Two of you could perhaps walk side by side in most of it, but there are tables at weird angles strewn about and scrolls and books. You can see stacks of crates, each filled with books or reagents, and here sort of a drawing or there a recipe that has been curled up. But as you enter, there are a few dwarves who kind of go to and from here. The room itself may be 10 feet tall. There's a central hallway that goes down, and then 3 or 4 other ones that seem to twist around and out. There are 2 hallways that curve around that seem to follow the periphery of the tower. As you walk in, you can see this dwarf has beautiful gray eyes, hint of a 5 o'clock shadow despite the time. Looks kind of anxious and looks around at you guys and, you're the Finger Gang. Finally. Do you know where you want to go? I've been waiting for almost 2 days now. I have things I'd like to get to, so if you wouldn't mind.
You've just been sitting here?
No, I've been working on, and he gestures down at the table. There are books strewn about. I've been working on some of my projects, but I have something that I'm reading, and I would really like to get back to it. I'm almost at the end, so where would you like to go? Let me show you to where you're going. And
Wait,
he
what?
kind of brushes people by. He pulls a dwarf to the side. Could you go and make sure that the teleportation chamber is ready? Thank you very much.
Oh,
we're
you're
not
just
really
like,
guests.
excuse me, I don't mean to
Yes.
interrupt.
We
too
just
much.
came to check it out.
Okay,
Right.
very well, but we still need to make sure that it is cleaned up and
Yeah, but we're not,
follow
we're
me,
not
please.
right now.
Again, that's fine. but maybe we can get a better sense of a timetable, and then I can not be
That's
waiting
fine.
around so much. Thank you very
That's fine.
much. Follow me. You guys follow him. You zig and zag through these haphazard hallways with paintings. There are here and there drift globes, some kind of a muted light that shed at least dim light through the structure, so all of you can see. But as you round a corner, you can see a few doors on the sides, but one that immediately pulls your eyes in. This door frame, it's a bluish metal frame that's up into an arc point, and it's surrounding a fire engine red door. And as you get closer, it's a very glossy paint. This dwarf turns this glass knob. You hear the sound of things tapping and rattling around within, but he opens the door and steps through. Do you guys follow? Okay.
Sure.
Step in one by one. Shae, Guntir, you have the 19 passive perception?
We both do now.
You both do now. Both of you, as you walk through, look down at this knob. As it turns, you hear... and peering in, there are like stick insects that are alive.
Oh.
Very weird. Through the door, you step out into a circular room, perhaps 35 feet across, with a pair of 5 feet wide rings, almost like large steps, that descend down to a central circle, about 25 feet across. There's a pair of alabaster rectangular pillars rising up to the ceiling, between which a circle of complex runes, equations, and intricate linework is drawn onto that central lower stone floor. The magic in this circle is potent. It glows with conjuration magic to you, Heinrich, if you have that detect magic going. In the center, there is a clean portion that you would imagine would be a space for a destination. The dwarf kind of gestures around. So this is the teleportation circle. It typically is a fairly expensive procedure, but you are all heroes to Colteron. Thank you so much for saving us, by the way. I know I seem kind of rushed, but I'm getting towards the end of a very good book, and I am something of an avid reader, so...
I understand that feeling.
A fellow reader. Well, great.
I roll
Not
my eyes.
academic work that I'm reading at the moment, but still, there is equal value found in fiction, I think. So, where would you guys like to go? I know the Gold Glows have set a couple of destinations up for you that maybe you wish to attend, but maybe you have a place that you're trying to get to. I know you may not be leaving now, but...
And I just turn to Shae at this point, just be like, yeah? Are we certain that they
We're
would
going
know
to
this
Squall's
region?
End!
Okay. And I just...
the little
back to
town
Guntir
attached to the monastery? We don't really
Yeah,
have a way of
somewhere
getting-
around there.
Well,
What's the closest place that you can take us to?
this would be the closest.
Ah. Well,
Very sorry, but we don't really need a teleportation circle. It's not that far.
wow, you're really helping out
So
your heroes
perhaps
here.
How
we
far
save
is it?
this trip for something further south. We make our way
course.
north on our own.
It would be hard to go further north than here. But to the south, of course, we can get you down into the kingdom if you wish. We do have some dealings with Pendleton and could get you there. You've been cleared to go to the Mudtown Alchemist Association if you would like. There's a teleportation circle there. And then,
Having looked at maps before, would I know what the closest major city is to the Gated Marsh?
maybe, although he sees you kind of like considering this and your eyes sort of squinting, and he says, do you have a map or something I could maybe show you?
Actually, you know what? I did copy a map down before from the monastery.
So you take
I'll just
out
pull
this
that
map.
out,
He looks at it and kind of looks up at you. This is pretty old. This this still has part of Farshore attached to Dominion. Give me a second.
We're
This isn't
working
going to
towards
work. Give me a second. He leaves you alone in the space for the moment. Is there anything that you
Cool.
wish to do while you're alone?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can I find the identifying location glyph somehow of this location and copy it down? Should another teleportation circle come of access to us and we need to get back here, is there a way that I could discern that?
Okay, there absolutely is. However, it is 10:10.
Oh no.
So before you begin to scour and look into this room, and of which there's a lot to see, although some of you have seen this before, although not in the current characters that you are playing. The last time that some of you might remember having seen this chamber, you were being led there by Abernathy the Bender.
I
But
remember that.
Yep.
yeah,
Well,
but
doesn't.
before we get into all of that, we're going to take a quick break. So it is 10:10. We will come back at 10:20. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and we'll see you then. See you. welcome back to Adventures in Alberon. Thank you very much for those of you who stuck with us through the break. Hello to Isumiwa, and welcome who is now subscribed for 10 months in a row, which
Whoa.
it feels like every single week is another month that you have been subscribed. I don't know how it works, but it's pretty amazing. Thank you so much for the support. It really it means a lot, especially right now since we're in the process of actually building a studio, which, believe it or not terribly cheap. I know.
Who
It's
knew?
all funded out of most of Adventures in Alberon is funded out of pocket, although a portion of it now totally from you guys. So thank you very much. It definitely helps. It means a lot. So we'll just jump right back in. You guys, let me change the music up here. The wonderful jungle music. And we'll switch to something more Alberon-y. You now take up the space within this room, 35 feet wide, circular stone steps that descend down to this very powerful teleportation circle. Heinrich, you begin to look for the glyph that would symbolize what this circle means. Make an Arcana check.
Okay. Can my detect magic's probably just going off like crazy. It wouldn't help, would it?
So looking around first, just a quick cursory glance at the detect magic. It is this brilliant conjuration glow that is lit from underneath. Interestingly, there's this weird almost haze around the top. You can see these alabaster pillars rise up, and they seem to have elements that were bolted in at one point that are missing now. But around that space, there is this weird ripple. It isn't a specific school of magic, but there is a chaotic element to this space, for sure.
Okay. So no advantage. Okay. Dang.
Good try.
Ooh. 18.
18. You take a little bit of time. You haven't really used teleportation, and so you have to look, but as your eyes go over the glyphs, they shift and warp, and you get the sense of a lot of them. And that allows you to sort of sift away many of them, and eventually you find one that doesn't flip or change. And you would imagine this is it. So without too much trouble, you can copy it down. You can write down that you now have the symbol for the Mage's Tower teleportation circle.
Cool. That's all I wanted to do while we were in here before we actually use the space.
Anybody else doing anything?
I just want to do like a general look around, like
Make a
this is
perception
like
check.
walking onto the hull of the Titanic, in a sense. That's a
This is an
dirty
old
20.
space. Okay. You walk around, just kind of taking in the room, and your eyes catch something. You go over to the wall, and you can see at one time there were runes that were scrawled across almost madly. You can see just faded bits still kind of etched into the stone. You don't get the sense for what they meant, and they go off at strange angles and twist up the walls, but they're just ghosts of glyphs. You don't actually see or feel any magic to them. But whatever magic did once reside in this room, weird and strong enough that whatever means have been used to extinguish them weren't able to completely remove them. There was something quite potent here at one point. But aside from that, not much. And at about this point, your guide comes back, holding this rolled up scroll. Well, some good news. We have a couple of these, so we can just kind of send one with you. But a little bit better than your map, Tiefling. And he unrolls a complete map of Dominion.
Yeah.
Oh,
there it
good
is.
job.
And so when we do play in person, you'll now have access to this map in its
Yeah.
entirety.
Yay.
Until we get back to playing in person, if there are portions that you would like to see, I can send you pictures.
Cool.
But it is a incredibly detailed map, of which there's all kinds of stuff that you can do and see.
Nice.
But he hands it over to you and says, "So just so you kind of get a sense for where you could go," and he gestures to a few of the points on this map. We could. These are the ones that were specifically set aside for you, and then there are a few more that we could grant you access to. But For a variety of reasons, perhaps you wish to go to Farshore, the Sunrest Islands. We could send you to Kalorjet, which is the center of government there. And I'm sure they would be happy to receive you. We could send you to the Aldwyn Menagerie. It's just a little bit east of the Idlewild off the coast, and I think it is a wondrous place. Perhaps a good place to spend some money and see things that you can't see anywhere else in Dominion. We could send you to Mudtown, although there's a lot of stuff going on in Mudtown. I wouldn't recommend it personally. And then, by special request, actually, we received messages through the Burn Sing Pigeon Express, and the Bloodroot Sanctuary is interested in making your acquaintance at some point. So we could send you there in Dominion.
Where is that actually on the map?
And so he would point to the Bloodroot Sanctuary, which is just a little, probably about 4 days east of Dungannon. Specifically, let me see if I can line it up so that you can actually see it on camera. So I gotta get that. So here's the problem: I can't actually hold it up. I'm actually blocking my vision.
I think I saw it at the end. It's basically like the forest to the east of that rift-looking spot. Yeah.
Yes, that rift-looking spot is Dungannon. Dungannon is a city built onto this platform between these two gulches, and then a lot of the poor people live in these sort of slums in the gulches itself. Although not in no way as bad as the Ring of Copper or even the docks. There is a little bit of prosperity even amongst the poor there. It is an old city.
So
but yeah.
That would put us pretty far from the gated marsh, though.
And then, as I said before, I could also send you to Pendleton. We do a little bit of trade with them, and it's north of the Silas Woods and west of Nocturne by about a day and a half by coach.
That's the closest one. Ish.
To where you are now, yes.
And to the gated marsh?
To the gated marsh, probably Mudtown. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. There are all kinds of things crawling out of the mud these days, and even for heroes, I'm sure you wouldn't want the problems that would bring.
Right, right. And if we were to potentially attempt to meet up with our new acquaintance, they probably wouldn't be traveling that circuitous of a route.
You're asking Joe?
No, I'm just talking to the group.
Gotcha.
I think it would be like heading south and then west from where we are currently. I'd imagine that that's where they would go, especially if they need to send word to Dungannon. If they went west and then down the western coast, they would just pass right by it. So Heinrich thinks that probably Pendleton, you said?
Pendleton is located... So Pendleton is located about a day's travel east of Nocturne, which is on the east coast. So this is probably 3 weeks south of Port Quinn.
Would Guntir know of Pendleton? Probably.
Make a history check.
That's a 19.
Yeah, you've heard of Pendleton. Just because it's so close to Nocturne and you have spent some time in Nocturne. Pendleton is a very, very wealthy sort of suburban sort of village or town. It's not huge.
Like a gated community.
It is exactly a gated community. There is a large bricked gate around the entirety of the town. They are well known for having some of the better education there. That's all that you would probably know about it, seeing as how there wouldn't be much that would bring you there in the time that you were there. You know that there is a what is called the Pendleton Dispatch, which is where the teleportation circle you would imagine leads to.
May I confer with the group before we make a decision? I'm asking, what's his
Are
name?
you asking me?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
you want privacy? Oh, I guess, yeah.
Well, no, just more. Do we need to? Let me take a minute with my compatriots here. And I
Okay.
just turn and be like, what? Do we think?
So we
That
gotta
would be
walk
wise.
to the squall now?
So he just picks up a book and begins to read. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, it seems like that, but comparatively, it's not as far as going all the way south.
It would be smarter to save the travel for the south anyway.
Exactly.
That's a much longer journey.
So we're gonna go to the squall, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna teleport.
We're gonna go to the squall and do our research and see where the staff is, if there are any records, and go from there. And keep this
And we're gonna hope
as an
that
option.
Tazara doesn't get corrupted by her shard, and we're gonna hope that Jiraxa doesn't do whatever he's doing with the 9 paths.
Yes.
So we're ignoring the 2 things that we had initially set out to try and prevent,
I
and
think
going for a 3rd option of going back to see Gambo.
I think the better way to phrase it would be, we are trying to illuminate the darkness in which we are currently fumbling around.
We cannot defeat Jirax at this point. And I
Well, you
feel
said
it
that
is.
about the dragon, and here we are.
The dragon was unlikely. Jiraxa is not.
Oh, a liken what? Liken to the dragon? Or likened to a snake? Is that what you're implying?
Jiraxa is the most deadly individual I've ever met, and I only knew him when his mind was broken.
Well, have you met me?
That includes you, Guntir.
I was a joke. I was
That
joking.
includes you.
I'll
Guntir.
laugh at that. I say out loud and then I laugh.
Don't need your pity.
This still seems to me to be the best path, as long as, and going back onto it, you said it yourself, perspective. If we can at least know the location of these things, then we may learn for sure that there is no threat of Druxa finding a staff or piece of it. Locating the pillar that may exist within the halls of Dharma is another story, but I just feel that it would be better to know. Something is telling me the staff would be a great help for us. If we have one piece of it, why not continue searching for more?
I fear it is our only
Alright.
hope. We can't possibly keep up on our own. Already 2 pillars are active. We can't possibly keep up with all of that. We need something greater.
So we're gonna plan the L's so we can get a dub, is what you're saying?
Do any of us know what that means?
literally nobody. Maybe this must be something from like
It's
hundreds of years
dwarven.
ago. This is old lexicon that maybe has fallen out of the everyday vote. But you got a rough approximation of what he's trying to say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Throw the battle, win the war.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I will say, if this is our plan, I'd like to get moving because I want to get down south as quickly as possible. Personally.
And to your point too, Guntir, of keeping a tabs on this elf with the shard in her neck, which I think is what you have reduced her to in your mind.
Well, I
she's
mean,
heading
that's all I
south.
really have to go on since she woke me up in the middle of the night in a window and then left.
Right. Regardless, you seem
I don't know
more
what
bent
else
out
I'm
of shape
supposed to
about
know
that.
about her because she is, again, a relative stranger who you've put complete faith in.
Not complete, but enough based on
Enough to tell
what has
her
happened to
things
me.
and keep things secret from your friends.
What secrets do I keep, Guntir?
We wouldn't
Regardless. And I just turn around at this point and readdress the
point,
guy who's been
Morwen.
patiently reading and just say, Pendleton seems like the best place that we could decide on. Although it wouldn't be today that we'd be traveling.
Okay, well, would it be tomorrow or?
We'll figure it out. We're gonna play it by ear a bit.
No.
Like
Okay, it's just that I'm
maybe
getting
like
to
a
a
week.
really good part, and I want to figure out what happens. So
Okay, well you'll have
That's
plenty of time
fine.
to read. Just read.
And
You
that's
can
correct.
read when we're not here.
Likely
Do we know if
No
this
one's
is
stopping you.
be a
Do we know if this is a
case.
standing offer, or is this something that the longer time goes on, the less the favor of saving your city will be recognized?
Is
that's
there
a
an
that's a really big
expiration
question for
date?
me. I am instructed to let you guys utilize our teleportation circle once for free, and then you're free to use it after that, but not free. You'll pay for it.
Sure.
All right,
There
so
was
we'll
no
use it
timestamp.
once for free
No.
after we go to the
if I'm not-
squad.
I don't know what he's saying, but if you wish to use it at a time when I'm not here, you may run into trouble. And I don't live here, just because I'm the one with the instructions. But
Can't you leave them here so that you can go do your whatevers and
Are they written instruction? Is this like a receipt that we
I could
can
write the
carry with
instructions,
us?
but the ability to teleport somebody across great distances is not an easy feat, and there are not many who are capable of doing such a thing, or else it would be a cheaper practice.
Sure.
So
Where
I
do
can
you
do
live?
it pretty easily. You just don't know
I
where
live
you
in-
end up.
I'm just, ignoring Gunter's ramblings.
I live on the Raylon, so if you go out the tower to the left, and then travel for about 3 minutes, you'll come upon a beautiful home, if I may say so myself, with a gate of jade.
Wait, so you're
And
like
your name is-
5
Did
minutes
we
from
learn his
here,
name?
so
Did he?
It's not a very large ring, the ring of gold, compared to the other two anyways. And no, nobody asked his name.
I thought he introduced himself at the beginning.
He did not.
Oh no, he hurried us away. So I'll be like, okay, well, what would we call you if we were to return and seek your abilities?
Well, my name is Beldian, but you most call me Bell.
That's a quaint name. I enjoyed in a strange way.
all
glad
right,
that you
Belen.
enjoy my
Well, we're
quaint
gonna
name.
go to we're going to the squall, so we're gonna be a while. All right, Belen.
Anyways,
Why are you going to the squall?
whatever he was
That's
saying.
none of your
please-
concern.
If you couldn't tell, please just bear him
Okay.
no mind. He goes off like a running spigot sometimes.
It's just that the squall is a massive blizzard that has raged for hundreds of years, so
We,
Sure.
Yeah, well,
we may
you
or may
know.
not be going there. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's more that we're not using this teleportation circle immediately because
Yeah.
we do have other business to attend to in the north before we travel.
So go
far
read your
south.
book, and we'll be back in a couple days.
Gunter, could I just please
okay.
don't make
That's fine.
enemies of someone doing us a favor?
You're not going to make an enemy, and
You
I
have to
it's
be
not really
rude
my
about
favorite.
it.
You're
I
being
just want to read my book, so I'm
He
just
just
gonna
wants to read his book. I'm
And he
telling him
kind
to
of
go do what he wants.
picks up this book and
Belle,
continues.
what are you reading?
Anyways, Belle, please, if we could find
It's
you
nothing
later-
really.
What is it?
Oh my god.
You can see he kind of
Is
tucks
it
it behind his back
of
now. It's
mermaids
really,
and men?
No, it's
It's a good
it's,
book.
It's just a piece
Have you
of
read
fiction,
it?
historical fiction. It's not a big deal. I have not read of mermaids and men. That sounds
Yeah.
kind of adult.
What about
It's
Game
pretty
Game
tasteful though.
Game of Stones?
I'm not
Gunter knows
familiar
all
with those
about
books.
that one.
I'll have to look into them, but I
Yeah, the
Jesus
last
Christ.
This is getting out of
last
hand.
couple chapters were terrible.
All right.
So I'm going to take my little book and I'm going to go read. But you know where I live, or you could have somebody send for me. I'm sure.
All right.
Thank you, and sorry
Yes.
for the
Off you
trouble
go.
in taking up so much of your time.
Enjoy
He
your book.
nods and
It was
says
like
stuff. I will. thank
5
you.
minutes. Read your book.
And he leaves to read his book.
No, what the hell's he reading? Why is he being so secretive? Bet it's
Did I
something
notice?
interesting.
Could I have noticed what the book was? Just
Make a
because
perception
of
check.
the-
Sure,
Just
make a
because of the-
perception check.
It
book
probably is of mermaids and men.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. As he was like holding it and reading it, you did catch that the title was the Dungannon Hawk, and the I would say that's all that you really saw from it.
Mhm.
Based on sort of the cheaper nature of it, you would imagine it is like a thriller, like it's not like a piece of like
Yeah.
real substantial fiction. It's
It's
just
like
kinda
the
junk.
twilight of this.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
more of a local superhero kind of tale.
Yeah.
The Dungannon Hawk
Maybe,
sounds
yeah.
like a figure that like
That's
Batman.
not too embarrassing.
Maybe for him it
Perhaps.
is.
You
I
haven't
don't know.
read it.
That's true. You have not read
It's
it.
true.
Okay, cool. So we know Bell lives on the Ring of Gold, runs a teleportation circle. What was the description of the front of his house again? Just like jade, I think?
There's a gate
Gate
of
of
jade
jade.
that leads into the house itself.
Alright, sweet. Good, great. So this seems like a standing offer. Now we can go out and do whatever else it is that you would like to do.
Travel back to Squall's End.
No
Oh.
shopping?
How long will this?
Well,
can shop on
I
the way
wanted to
out.
shop, but I sent my list off to the Mala.
Right.
You can shop on the way out, Gunter. Whatever
It's
that
not
means.
saying that.
Alright, should I
Keep saying
guess
that.
remind
I'll save
everyone
it
at this
for when we
point?
get back to.
I feel like I would like to remind everyone at this point, we do need to collect Helia's ashes.
And
Please.
reward.
You do need to collect whatever shopping list you sent out already. Any
Well,
of our things
I'm-
that we may have left in the room, and speak to Nazara.
And the pile of gold that is surely awaiting us.
There is none.
No.
You know how cheap these
What?
people seem.
Well,
They
we need to
paid
talk
off
to
your
the,
debt. We're
the drow
set.
To be
people.
fair, you
What?
know,
I say
stopping
I'm
a
just-
60,000 gold
I'm-
bounty.
I'm pandering to Gunter's
Sure.
mentality.
Sure.
With that one. So yeah.
Didn't they say that we got like 20,000 gold each or something?
Sure, perfect. And you will have
It
it
went
eventually.
to paying off your bounty, Gunter.
My bounty was only like 200 gold.
287 gold. No, you have a bounty for each year you're alive.
It's like a birthday candle. You add one coin each year.
Oh, he's still going.
He's
Alright.
got a couple.
I'm going to, unless anyone else, and I guess I'll say this to everyone, like, unless anyone else has any more business here, I'll go seek out
Well-
Nazara, and
Well,
then
I'd like to talk to the drow. If you made these arrangements, I want to get
perfect.
my.
go, yeah, absolutely.
I'll go with you. Let's go figure that out. And then we can go collect the gold from Dithma.
Yeah, let's go cash in our favors.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go.
So-
We're cashing in favors. See, this is the vacation I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you
Doing
guys,
all the stuff that we want to do.
Shae, are you going as well?
I will go with Heinrich.
Okay. So, Heinrich, you are going to the Temple of the Rune Carver to pick up Helia's ashes first, or where do you want to go first?
I'll do that since no one else seems to remember that was what all of
Oh my
yesterday
God, we
was spent on.
absolutely all remember. But you're gonna get them, so why do we all have to go?
We
We
don't.
don't all have to go pick it up.
So Heinrich, Shae, and Krodok are going to the Temple of the Rune Carver, and Guntir and Morwen, you guys are going where?
We're gonna
We're gonna go
go.
look for the drow and cash in our favors.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're cashing in the favors, and then we're gonna go get the cash from Dithme.
Stop saying there's cash.
We're gonna
on
cash
You
in our
find
favors
your
and go
way.
get the cash for our favors.
Out of the Tower of Mages, wandering through the cluttered hallways with caged creatures and beautiful paintings and stacks of books. You find your way out into the Ring of Gold, the artificial daylight splashed across the grass and the brick pathways, and you immediately splinter off, reminiscent of the first 10 sessions of our campaign.
It's a healthy separation.
It is. It's not, you know what? It's not 7 people going in different directions, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Two clumps
Vacation.
is okay.
Yeah, it's not bad. For you guys, it's really not bad.
In a relatively safe area.
Heinrich, Shae, you, along with Krodok, make your way to the Temple of the Rune Carver, the thick, tall, black building that is placed into the side of the mountain with pipes that you all now know come from that crematory sort of structure in the back and seem to go into the mountain itself. You would imagine feeding to an external exit. You enter these doors again, very quiet, save the 2 iron rods that ring together as the door opens. Echoes into the stone expanse. And on the table that you had seen Helia previously, there is now a beautiful onyx. This is almost like whereas you're used to onyx being very glossy, this has been worked to almost a matte finish, and the sapphires themselves seem to almost glow from that very, very muted surface. They seem almost more pronounced. And Heinrich, it's beautiful for you especially because the dwarvish runes that are carved minutely into this place. You see the word orphan come out quite a few times. It shifts and becomes just this list of different deeds that Helia has performed. The rite of the rune carver inscribed into the urn itself. Fanric, the younger, sort of haunted-looking dwarf that you had met previously, the robe still hanging on the thin body, greets you with a nod. I hope you're satisfied with what we've done.
This is excellent work. It's very impressive.
The acolytes have already hit the street. They will share the deeds that this woman has done throughout the call and make sure that she knows, or that they know, the hero that she was.
Good. That's good. Was payment already? We already
Yeah,
did
it was
that
already
before,
done.
You did already pay.
right? Yeah, I was asking on. Yeah.
You did already
Okay.
pay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. May we collect it and take it?
Of course.
Thank you. That's it. I don't have anything else to say for this guy.
Surprisingly heavy.
Yeah.
You know, this is like a 50-pound urn.
Uh-huh.
But you lift it up. It is beautiful. It is well made. There is no rough seams. Despite this matte finish, it is not rough to the touch. Still very smooth. This is a beautiful piece of workmanship. Something that would be art almost anywhere else. And in it, you would imagine, are the ashes of Helia Coldrot. But you can add that to your inventory if you would like.
Cool.
The urn of
Will it
Helia Coldrot.
safely not open up and spill its contents in my bag of holding?
Probably a good idea.
Shake it to make sure it's not empty.
Well, is it sealed? Is there like a latch or something, some sort of sealing on it?
Very interestingly, so you spend a little bit of time trying to pull it apart. It's very secure, but you learn it has almost in the onyx itself grooves so that it can screw on
Threaded.
and off.
Okay.
Oh, it's a twist off.
It is a twist off, as opposed to the
This
kind
is
of urns that
horrible.
you
Does
crack
someone have
open.
an urn opener?
You don't call it a twist off. I don't. Oh my god.
That's why you crack open a cold one.
That's why. That's why I'm glad
Oh, that's
Guntir
so
didn't
bad. You need to get
crack
you need to
open a
mark-
cold rot. No.
You need a march.
All right.
Oh,
In the bag it
bad.
goes. No more speaking of it until we deliver it. And just,
To the handy
I
haversack.
do a bow, a thank you, and a gracious exit, and that's all. Just want to keep this simple, not bothering this guy any more than some of us have.
As you begin to leave, he stops you and just says, "As all of us are likely to die, would you like to set up a plan should something happen to you?"
Ooh, dark.
No, that's quite all right. I don't feel. I would. No thanks.
His eyes drift across this room. The tables, these slabs of stone that seem to almost grit it, most covered with these black funerary drapes over broken bodies. He nods and says, "None of them thought it was close either.
Sure.
You never
I don't
know."
think I'll be here, and to bring. You know what? I'll probably die somewhere else. That's not a slight against your city or your work or anything. It's just more of the probability of it happening somewhere else is higher.
Thanks, but I'll just go die somewhere else.
Yeah, I know. That's like, I'm gonna save that one for later.
I'm gonna take my death to another server.
I'm busy. I gotta die somewhere else. Sorry.
But yeah,
Very well.
and again, another thank you again. And I'll like tap the bag, being like, yeah, that was good work, and then leave. I got nothing.
He nods. May your deeds be great.
And
you
yours
exit
as
the
well.
temple.
And
Come on,
also
Dorian.
with you.
The door shuts.
Thanks, you too.
You guys exit. So, Morwen, Guntir, during this
Oh,
time,
painless.
you are going to search for Aeshelves.
Yes.
Make a perception check, each of you.
– 17 for me.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Whoa.
Guntir, as you're walking around looking for her, she doesn't immediately jump out. You think about her. You've met drows before. They're not terribly into being in the sunlight. So your eyes begin to drift both metaphorically and literally towards the shades and the areas that have less sun. And you actually notice as you're walking, there's a brief bit of movement near a tree, and you can see a faint purple glow. And you'd imagine, should you keep walking, it's almost as if, with a natural 20, you get the sense that Edelweiss is sort of waiting to mysteriously step out and greet you. Morwen does not see this.
I'm just gonna turn directly to it and be like,
Hey, Edelweiss!
Morwen, all of a sudden, you hear this sort of like sound being caught in the throat, this kind of, and then departing from around this corner and emerging into your view is Edelweiss, this drow, still wearing a dark cloak, the hood now drawn up over her face, casting a shadow across. Little bits of white hair hang out, but these eyes drift up. You can see from the sleeves the faint violet hue of the tattoos that you know emit this faint glow. She waves the skin of her, the charcoal skin of her hand, briefly touching the light and then disappearing again. You have very good eyes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
It's not to
do
me,
you
please
know?
say thank you.
Do you know what it is that you would like?
Well, what's your best thing? What are you known for?
I am known for being an enchanter, so
Right, but
I can.
what's your good enchanting? Like, what do you like to
Give us an
enchant?
example.
Yeah.
An example. For example, I could create a sword that could burst into flames and deal both fire damage and the normal damage of a blade to your enemies. I could perhaps craft you a helm that gives you insight into others' thoughts. There are many things
Ooh.
possible.
What can you do
For I
with it?
am Edelweiss the Enchanter.
What can you do with my friend over here? And it looks like I'm gesturing to Guntir, but I just pass him and I grab Frank the skull.
So as you go, Guntir, you see Morwen's paws about to close around your shoulders to present you, and they pass you, and Frank emerges.
Oh, Frank. Yeah, I guess
is-
Frank deserves it.
A skull. What would you like him to do? Would you like him to talk?
Oh, he already talks.
He's really more of a listener.
Just play along.
Oh,
So if you would like,
yeah,
I
he
could,
does.
of course.
It's getting him to shut up is the problem.
Yeah.
I could make. Let me put it to you this way. There is very little that I cannot do. So if you were to say to me, Edelweiss, I would love for this skull to be able to listen to those around it and not speak, I could perhaps make it so that wherever you leave this skull, you are able to hear.
Tempting, but I don't like Frank being very far away. He gets very lonely.
Yeah, he's
Again, this was an
pearl.
example.
Oh,
Where is
right.
Heinrich?
Heinrich's, he's busy. He's off doing stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Funeral
Picking up our,
planning.
picking up
you
our
know.
friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have an idea?
Well, I don't know. What do you give for like the greatest heroes that you've ever seen? You know.
Can you make
what
Frank
can you
fly?
do?
So I could.
Oh, that's
Well,
cool.
I
That's
don't.
cool.
Don't make Frank fly. We've already got Crabby.
No, I just wanted to know if she could do it.
I could,
like she could do
given his
anything.
size, I imagine he could only fly one of you, but
Well, what about oh, you got anything you want, Morwen? I feel
I
like
don't know.
we've got,
Frank,
you
what
know,
do you think? And
a
I'm just
big
gonna
treasure right in front of us.
Well, yeah. I mean, Frank's out, so of course.
I mean, Frank is not the treasure that I'm talking about at this current moment. Not saying that he isn't a treasure, and that the love that you have for him is not real. I'm just saying that he is not the direct treasure that we currently have available to us.
You can see the drow's face, the eyebrows completely level. Look, if you do not need what I am offering, there are other people who have taken great interest in your endorsement, so go seek them out. What I am offering you is something that very few others can do. So,
Could you, like,
the
magically...
beer guy, he seemed to be very interested in you, Guntir.
I do like beer. But,
Can you make like a key that unlocks every door?
I have not done so in the past. I've made keys that can lock any door,
it's pretty
but
good.
it is something I could look into.
Something that,
Nice
That's
skeleton
not bad.
key, shall we say?
You can do that.
Ah, skeleton key. I can sort of see it coming together in my mind.
No.
Yes.
Oh no, I'm gonna put Frank away because now it sounds like she's talking about him.
She doesn't seem to notice for what it's worth, but she
I close
seems
his,
to be nodding
his
now.
non-ears where they would be.
Sure. You put your hands over these 2 indents in the skull and put them away. Frank no longer
Now that
hears what's happening.
could be good. Something that opens and unlocks anything that we ourselves can't, which isn't
That's
much.
what I'm thinking.
Am I right?
Yeah, well, it's true.
She's very good at lock picking.
So then, why would you need this? You know what? It is fine. If you would like, I could perhaps create a key with the elements of a spell called Knock that opens many doors. If you would like, I could make you this skeleton key. Typically, an enchantment of something of a higher quality item does take several weeks, but this I could do very quickly. 5 days.
Alright, I'm not
Knock
committing,
is-
but noted.
I think we could probably get more bang for our proverbial buck here.
Yeah, I think I want something that takes weeks, you know? That seems like it's really
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation. I have found a place for my store, so should you want to come by, and should you maybe have a bit of a clearer picture, I will be in the market Aglo.
Ah,
Okay.
we were there, right? Yeah, Market of
You were.
Glow. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So, I guess, yeah. Think of something good for us, and we'll think of something good too, and we'll see which
I'll
one's
think
better.
of something that's good for us.
So I've
Yeah.
already presented to you ideas. I'm
Yeah,
not going to
we're
think anything
considering
more
them.
about this. So, my ideas have been presented, and so when you have yours, I welcome
Okay.
them.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day.
Well, we've got to go get some gold now.
She
so
draws the
we'll-
hood up closer. And she leaves.
That was horrible. That was more
We
painful
were
than the
bartering.
funeral. Holy shit.
You're bartering
Oh,
ideas.
okay.
So,
Moving on.
Moving on.
the 2 sets of you complete your task, and should you want to, you can find each other, or if you have other things to attend to, what would they be?
Finding
I wanna
Nazareth.
Go,
That was primarily the
go
goal.
get Dithmay.
Okay,
Get
so
that,
you begin to look for
reward.
Dithmay. You do know where this service stairs to the Gold Terrace are, so you can certainly take
You wanna-
those.
Want to go check out our monetary reward?
Yeah, sure.
So, Guntir and Morwen, you head to ascend the stairs to the Terrace of Gold and collect this reward that was never offered. Heinrich, you exiting. What is your passive perception?
It is 12.
Okay. Shae, having spent a little bit of time around here, you actually do see when you exit this building to your right, down several streets and sitting on a bench, in no way trying to disguise yourself, but still somehow disguised from Heinrich.
Yeah.
You can see Nazara, who is drawing quite a few glances. She's one of the very few non-dwarves here. Actually, the only one save you, your group.
Kind of like elbow him a little bit and just kind of like nonchalantly point but in a way that's not super obvious. Just
Hmm? Okay. My passive perception misses that as well.
It takes a little while, but with Shae really
Okay.
pointing you and walking you in that direction, you do see Nazara. So hard to see because the hair is not out. It seems to be tied up in back. This hood kind of pulled over. But yeah, you see her approaching. She stands up, looks to both of you, smiles. To you first, Shae, she says, "Has your friend left?"
no, he's here.
And so, rounding the corner, Craddock kind of comes out, and she says, so has she expressed my request to you? And Craddock nods. Shae has said that I should take a message to Dungannon. But what message did I send? And so, without replaying the entire thing, she passes the message on, which, Heinrich, you don't speak Elvish, correct?
No.
Okay.
I have two words under my belt now.
Yep. And so neither the word gold nor the word light comes up to mind for you.
Yeah.
So neither of those. Actually, no. North. Well, you don't know the word
North,
north, but it does come out. Yeah. Craddock repeats it a few times. I think I can remember that. And she again changes her face to look like this human, shows him Teichvolt. And he nods. Turns to you, Shae. Shae.
Craddock.
It has been a long time since we have been able to be together for this long.
It has.
I will miss you.
Likewise.
Please stay safe, and if you do find Jeruxa, be very careful.
May the wind carry you home safely.
And may we find each other again.
Yes.
He turns and nods to Nazara and turns to you, Heinrich. He walks past you, but he stops for just a second. Please, keep Shae safe.
Just a grave nod. I know
And
that
he
he's not much for
continues.
What
words.
am I, chopped liver?
You're not there?
I know.
Oh, he's not even gonna say goodbye.
He's not.
Nope, nothing.
This is an
Well.
important thing.
Noted.
So, the two of you are now left with Nazara. Still, every now and then, worth noting, you are being interrupted by dwarves who come up and thank you. So, not a discreet place to have a conversation by any means, but
Is there a more discreet place that we could have a conversation? Sorry. Maybe return to our quarters at the... I'm never going to remember the name of it.
at the Alkin,
Alkin, thank you.
please, that would be a very suitable place to have this conversation. You return to the Alkin. Guntir and Morwen, you make your way to the stairs, stopping every now and then to accept a congratulations or two. And you make your way up. It is a twisting spiral staircase that rises up the wall of the inside of Mount Taram and up to the golden terrace above. You get to the top and are stopped first by one of the guards that you actually would recognize as one of those halberd bearing slightly out of sorts guards that you had seen previously. He goes to stop you, but then seems to notice and recognize you.
Yeah, that's right.
Slayer of Dragons, welcome to the Golden Terrace. Are you here on business, or should I send somebody?
Yeah, we're
out?
here to collect our reward.
Okay, well, let me send for the gold glows. I'm sure they'd be happy
Yeah,
to
go
see to
get the
whatever it is
gold.
that you need.
Yeah, we're just here for the gold, so yeah, that's perfect.
Please feel free to make yourself comfortable on the grounds. I know you've been here before. You'll notice it's a little bit cleaner. And looking over, you can see still there are dark stains on the brick here, but the area where Kindscale's body was is now bare.
yeah, I
You
like
notice
what
it's a
you've
bit
done with
cleaner
the
than it
place.
was, but give me just a moment. And he heads off
Yeah.
down the north hallway.
I'm just gonna point at the spot and be like, Guntir, you don't think, that's not where our bacon's coming from, right?
Make a
I'd
nature
rather not
check.
know.
Okay,
I'd
nope,
rather not
that's it.
know.
Gunter, you make a nature check.
Uh-oh. That's a natural.
Oh god.
It is certainly not. It is
Okay.
very
God.
much pig-based
Nah.
bacon.
No, that's probably from pigs.
Yeah.
We're
You wait for just a little bit, and without long passing, the blonde dwarf, who you have still not asked her name, but she returns, this time
Is he-
wearing a little bit more formal garb. You can see almost like a red cloak that seems to go and is attached to a sleeve on both sides that does not continue to the shirt itself, which is made of some kind of a almost gold fabric that is interlaced with fibers of red. But
Hey,
she
you.
smiles.
We're here for the reward.
Do you need directions or
The reward. You know, we saved the town. And, you know, you said we'd get some monetary compensation.
Yes, I
well,
believe
not you,
Dithmay
but
has.
Dithmay.
Yes, she's sent
Yeah.
for an entire variety of crimes to be forgiven on your behalf, totaling in the amount of 60,000+ gold pieces, I believe. So that is
but
the
that's
monetary reward.
Oh, but that was for Heinrich. I'm talking about for Morwen and me.
Maybe I
Yeah,
can
mine
explain
wasn't
this
that
in a way
high.
that you would understand. I heard that you were asking for the funerary things for your friend to be put on our tab, so to speak, at the Rune Carver's
Yeah,
Temple.
because I mean,
So
doesn't seem
imagine,
appropriate for
if you
us to
wouldn't
pay.
mind, imagine that you had a tremendous tab open to the east. Dithmay has offered to close that for you.
Yeah, but that's Heinrich. Do we not? Did we get bamboozled, Morwen?
Also, when you say offered, I mean, did we accept it?
I
You
don't
did.
remember.
And I
Are you
say
sure
offered
we
only
did,
because,
or-
yes, I was there and she read it out loud.
Are you sure?
What?
Do you have this?
If it is required, I do. I could get you a copy if you would like.
Ooh.
And I'm just gonna
I'm gonna-
whisper over to Gunter and be like, she's got receipts.
Mm,
She does.
we have to cut and run.
All right. Well,
Can we have some more of those apples?
The apples that grow on the terrace, if you would like, I could get you one. They are
Give me
valuable.
like a bushel.
Listen, perhaps you would prefer the product that they're made into.
Well, perhaps you would prefer a dragon lording over you.
wait, what's the product
Oh,
they're made into? I'm
very well.
interested.
I will fetch you the apples.
What
are
is the
what
product?
Are they made into?
She walks away.
Excuse
You guys
me?
You see her cross. She holds up a hand to you. You see her cross over towards the bridge and turn, reach up, and you notice that she cannot reach any of the apples, which is peculiar because there were some hanging at her height before. But she jumps
they're
up, and
in my
after a couple
bag.
tries, she's able to grab an apple. She returns. One for you, and one for you. Each of you can
And
add a
so-
golden apple to your inventory.
I guess,
Wait, what do you turn these into, though? What's the, I want to know what makes these so special.
Well, these are what we make into armut, which is, which Gunter you would know means shining brew in Dwarvish. But it, when distilled properly, it makes almost like a liquid gold. It tastes rich, effervescent, almost like maple, if you've had it.
is it better than the apples themselves?
Oh yes, it allows you to be
Well-
just a bit more charming for 12 hours after consuming.
More charming than this?
Yes.
Oh.
Can we have some of that too?
So enjoy your apples.
I'm gonna lean into Morwen and be like,
I think we should leave.
And when he says that, I'm just gonna say, thank you, and I'm running away.
Little cat feet.
I'm like, oh, and then run after Morwen.
You make your way downstairs. Are you guys heading back to the Alkin?
I think might as well, right?
Yeah,
Guntir?
I mean, the only other place that I want to go to is not on this ring. So,
Okay. Heinrich, Shae, you guys make your way back to your room. If there's anything you wish to do, you can, but after about 45 minutes, Morwen and Guntir will rejoin you.
Could we talk privately with her uninterrupted before they arrive?
Yeah, of course.
And just send her on her way before
Absolutely.
Guntir gets
So
back, basically.
you return to the ambassador's suite. You make
Okay.
your way up. The dwarf at the counter kind of gives a strange look at this very odd-looking elf who he has never seen before. But you make your way up.
I give a
uninterrupted.
smile and it's a guest. It's a friend of ours. Just a
He
little
nods
flourish
his-
as we walk
Of
by.
course, of course. Just whatever you would like. He averts his gaze, and you guys go upstairs.
Mhm.
You enter. It's been freshly cleaned. There are new jugs of water that have been set out with ceramic cups for them, with little gold rims. It's been cleaned.
Perfect. Now, we will be remaining in the north for a little while, as much as I personally would love to join the journey south.
And the
There's some
watch would be
things that
happy
we
to have you.
take care of. Yes, I also would very much like to learn more, since you seem in touch with the same provider of abilities and insight, I suppose.
With Uriel.
Uriel, yes.
He
To
goes
that
by other
note-
things as well.
What other names? Actually, that's
They do go by the World Watcher. That's how we knew him.
good to know. Noting that down. But on the note of interest in allying ourselves, since you are traveling south, is there a way that we may stay in touch? Do you have any direct communications between you and I, or just general messaging between the groups, or anything like that?
Let me look at her spells real quick. I don't have immediate means of communication.
You or the organization as well. Or if you just know of other ways to send messages great distances, because we haven't been doing that.
we could use the Balancing Pigeon Express because we are in Dominion, but
Seems
there
a
are
little
members of the
public.
organization who can. We are spread out in such a way that it would be difficult to immediately get in touch with you, but it is possible, yes.
Okay. One of those ways, what's the easiest one that we could do?
I'm sorry?
Like the bird, like what would be the easiest way basically of staying in touch?
Well, the easiest way of staying in touch, I'm to go south. Your Eric Oker friend has gone south as well to bring a message. I would imagine once that message reaches Teichfeld, they will know to assemble somebody to relay communication quicker. I don't know how long that will take, but I will make sure it is as expedient as possible.
Good. It's kind of one of the main things. Where, if I may ask, will you be heading? Should we like to catch up or meet up with you again closer to the gated marsh?
I cannot make it all the way to the gated marsh with what is happening to the south. I intend to go to Dungannon. There are a number of members of the Watch that are in the city and around.
That actually makes it a lot easier. Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Good news.
Hmm.
Good information. Well, I suppose then that would be the place that we would try to re-meet with you. Once we were
In
done up
Dungannon?
here in the north. I mean, Shae, does that track with you?
That is fine with me, provided the quest for the staff does not lead in other directions.
Right. And that's the business of remaining in the north for a little while.
Yes.
Well, I suppose
Speaking
then...
of which, if you do intend to go further north, you will need a way of getting there, I would believe.
Mhm.
You intend to travel to the place known as the Giant's Step.
Mhm.
We are returning to what is known as Squall's End for the time being.
Oh. I don't imagine that the Able Toes will be able to get you to Squall's End, but should the time come that you wish to travel further north, I could put you in touch with somebody who would be able to aid you in that journey.
Please.
So my plan was originally to take you to them, but that requires leaving Colteram, and the method by which would not allow us to easily get back in. So perhaps a different time I could introduce you to them.
Sure. If you could send word ahead, too, should we cross paths? Or is it not quite like that?
I can divert the way that I was going to go to stop by and see if I could have them meet you somewhere. Sally Abletoe is a remarkably resilient halfling. Her and Vought control a number of dog sleds, and they do manage to get things to and from the communities in the north. They have been helping me get dwarves from here to a small, well, the base of a mountain at which there is a community atop, or about halfway up. But as we no longer need to remove dwarves from Colteram, I'm sure that they would be happy to assist.
This is good news.
For the moment, we are returning to what you would know as Squall's End. After which,
And
it will be determined.
unfortunately, the most direct route there is through the boneyard, and the sleds will not traverse that terrain.
Correct.
But as long as you have a way to get to Squall's End, I could have them meet you at the base of that mountain, or somewhere nearby, perhaps.
Easy enough.
If you tell us where they would meet us, we could probably make our way there.
Very well. At the base of Mount Yishi, I believe it is,
Correct.
there is a copse of wood, now completely frozen. Follow that to the north, and I will have them meet you at the edge.
Perfect. I'm both literally and figuratively noting that down.
They are very well used to travel about the north, and they can wait there for some time, but the dogs that travel with them do require food, and so they cannot wait there indefinitely.
It should
How
not be a
long
long
would you estimate?
stopover in Squall's End. We should be on our way quickly.
They should be able to wait there for about 2 weeks without having to resupply.
2 weeks. Okay.
Easily enough.
Good. Good to know. I suppose that is all for now. I don't think that I have anything else. And Shae, do you have anything else?
At this time, no.
Then I will be off. I have a long way to travel, and though I am much quicker on my own, it will take me a long time to get to Dungannon. I will stop and I will tell Sally that you will meet her within 2 weeks north of Squall's End.
And should we not show up, please don't have her wait longer than 2 weeks.
Very
It is
well.
not for certain that we will travel further north.
Very well. I will let them know.
Thank you.
And keep your eyes open, Heinrich.
And you as well. Be ever watchful.
She turns the cloak out behind her and she leaves.
Cool.
Another 35 minutes pass and Guntir and Morwen return.
We
Yeah, it was
got
really-
apples. But only for us.
Yeah. Well,
More than I was expecting.
Apparently.
That's quite the haul.
Good
oh,
job.
what? Were you not expecting anything because you already knew that your bounty exceeded all of the reward?
Yeah, weren't you there as well? And there wasn't to be a
Yeah,
reward,
I
it
thought
seems, with this family.
We were all there for that conversation.
Yeah, but, you know, Heinrich was
I don't.
like 99% of the bounty.
I mean, I really think actually Heinrich kind of owes us this money now.
No one owes anyone
It's
any
kind
money.
of true. You know, I think you're right, Morwen.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's all right, Heinrich.
We'll put it on his
You'll
tab.
just-
Well,
you'll
how
just
about
owe
this? You'll
us.
just have to follow me around until it is considered paid off. How about that?
Oh, we could just get someone to bust your kneecaps.
Good luck.
That escalated so quickly. Alright.
I'm threatened and not actually threatened.
Ah,
I took
wait,
offense to
okay.
that.
Hey, wait. Where's Craddock?
Oh, he left.
Ah,
While you were
Oh, so-
searching for some gold or something.
What do you mean?
so,
Taking a
when's he coming back?
message to the south within a week with any luck.
Wait,
Wait, what?
so he's gone?
Yes.
Like,
We're in
gone,
the
gone?
south.
For the time being, he's going to Dungannon, which is also, and I'll have you know, Guntir, where Nazara is headed. For your knowledge. We'll be
Why is he
establishing a
there?
bit of communication with the Uriel's watch so that we can keep tabs on her specifically, but we wouldn't be able to do it directly.
Wait, why is he going to Dungannon though?
He's
bring a
taking a
message.
message.
Oh my god. Is he like asking my brothers for my hand in marriage?
It was an Elvish, possibly.
You have brothers?
He knows I like Elvish. I
Well,
like
then he
Are
knows
they
you
also
well.
cat people?
No.
Or are they just regular people?
They're just right. Well, they're special people.
All right,
What kind of message?
an Elvish message.
So you don't know what he said?
No. Shae would.
I don't
And
speak
Shae is
Elvish.
going
I
to
don't.
tell us?
I don't know.
She didn't even explain it to you. She just said it in Elvish, and
She said it in Elvish, and that was it.
Make an insight check.
why are we lying about this?
21.
No, I'm confused.
You get the sense that there's probably more to that message.
I'm sure.
Is it to any specific
Okay,
person?
Shae.
Don't look at me. I wasn't the one who she talked to in the first place about it.
Do you know? Is it to any person? The dude.
All I know is that it was a message about the north, and that was it.
She didn't say what she was trying to tell you to send down to the north, to the south. She just
Only
did some
what the
phrases that you
status
couldn't
of the north
understand.
was. That was it.
Okay, Shae, you keep playing your game.
Guntir, don't you have a new house that we should check on our way down and out since we make for Squall's End?
Well, I've been kind of considering the entire city of Calderon my new house, in the sense that we saved it and it wouldn't exist without us, so they
Right.
kind of owe us.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, if that's what you mean.
Conversely, if you hadn't activated the Pillar of Scales. Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
well,
I mean, do you plan on keeping this house? Why don't we give it to all the orphans that Helia saved?
because we made them up.
Yeah, but there still might be orphans, Guntir.
Yeah, but they don't need a tavern.
Probably more orphans now because all their parents are dead.
Yeah, but you can't ask a bunch of children to run a tavern. That's just unethical.
I thought it was a house. Well, it could be a
Gunter, as
tavern
you
for,
say
like-
that, you realize, they probably don't take as much to pay. And you think back to your room, even, there's been this girl that's just been like, waiting overnight in some cases at your beck and call. And you kind of thought before about whether she was being treated well or not. And she seemed to think that she was, although really not getting paid anything. So you would imagine, actually, you could make a pretty profitable tavern, if horrifically unethical, using child labor.
Just not into child labor.
Shall we move on? Did you need anything else in this place? You sent out a shopping list,
Well-
apparently. Did you get that back?
Yeah, I
or-
mean, no, but I imagine when we go.
Gunter, worth
Back.
noting, if you were to peek into your room, on your bed, there is a small, very small sachet of incense, roughly 20 gold pieces worth.
Okay. I got some incense.
Also, question that I've been wondering this whole time. What is
Sure.
how long is it gonna take to get to Skull's End? What's the travel
You
time?
guys took a real express route there.
Yeah.
You were able to fly. So it really depends on how you want to travel. There are a few ways. Shae, you would know.
Mm-hmm.
The ways in which you could probably travel. You've already gone through the boneyard,
Yep.
the bone meadow, and you could certainly go through that again. Walking, it would take you from the base of Kultram to the base of Mount Yishi, probably about 3.5 days.
Okay.
And that's to the base.
Sure.
You still need to ascend the mountain.
Sure.
You could also divert and go north through the wood that Nazara said that Sally Abletoe would meet you guys at.
Mm-hmm.
That would take probably closer to 5 or 6 days, but would be much safer
Mm-hmm.
relative to everything else. Still not safe by any means. Or you could travel by the south and dip through the Owl Wood, which you guys have been through, and traverse back up through Smuggler's Dug, and then use Larara to teleport you back. That would take you about 9 days.
Well, that depends entirely on how quickly and safely you wish to travel.
And then Shae relays to you
All of that.
those routes.
Well, if you have plans to meet up with someone, shouldn't we take that route? The one right in the middle?
No, because we don't need to meet up with them until we are leaving and knowing that we're heading north. There's no point to meet with them
Oh,
otherwise.
so let's take the quick and dangerous way.
That's the way more or less that we came, and out of familiarity at least.
I mean, what's gonna be worse than a dragon?
Gunter, suddenly you have a
How
flashback to the wind howling past you in the Iron Hawk.
As you
And
die.
this huge looming tower of stacked stones like flickers into view, and suddenly you remember
I was
"Fuck!"
dead for
as
that.
you fired out and were yoked across
Yeah.
the bone meadow.
Just his like limp body just yeeted out of this
Yeah.
thing.
You missed a bunch of the travel, Gunter,
Like a
but it's
rag
not the
doll.
safest route.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's not that bad.
We could
Okay.
manage, I'm sure.
Oh, we ran into Ethel Dice.
Yeah. Did you see
It's
her?
like Benedict
what did you,
Cumberbatch.
what did you have her make?
Ah,
We just asked her a bunch of questions.
I see.
yeah,
so
we
nothing.
couldn't think of anything good, so we put a pin in there.
Excellent.
Okay. Great.
'Cause,
Your
I mean,
reward that you were expecting.
well,
Okay.
I wanted to get the rewards from
irony.
everyone.
The irony.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall we stop by your new residence on the way down, and then exit the way we entered the mountain since we know it? And
Guess so.
You mean to the Undercity?
Oh, because we gotta
Oh.
drop off
We have to
And
the.
I'm gonna shake
You
my
pick
bag.
up the-
Yeah.
And
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Careful, that's Hellier you're shaking.
It's a stable dimension. It won't shake when I shake my bag.
Yeah, when the bag shakes, you don't hear anything.
It's
You
got
open it up and it's
hydraulics.
like poof.
we have to drop off Helia, and Heinrich mentioned something about keys.
Yeah, from the inn. I'm not gonna steal the keys to the room at that place where there was a very gracious host, all things considered.
A little weird, but yeah.
You're
I liked her. I thought she
gonna
was
make
cool.
us
A little-
go all
a
the
little
way
intense.
back to return a key? Can't you just make a new key?
I mean, if we're gonna be down there anyway, might as
Exactly.
well. I also
And
like.
Guntir, you
I
could
want
go
to see
shopping.
ghosts. I never saw ghosts.
There's things to be done. And it's the way that we came in, the way that we know how to leave, and pick up the trail back towards Squall's End. It only makes sense to me.
Gunter, you can see
Ah.
Kevin.
This is true. And Kevin.
And
Oh my
Kevin.
god. So,
Alright, I'm-
stop by your copper house, whatever it's called. Den Copper Kiln.
Then Cupperkiln.
Copper Kiln.
All right.
Check
I'm
that
gonna-
out and then keep going.
I'm gonna ask. Is there?
Ah.
Do we the someone outside waiting for us? You know.
Yeah, you would have passed him. It's like an 8-year-old boy who is currently there. It's his shift, so to speak.
All right. Excuse me. You.
Yeah?
Could you please grab us some provisions? What? We need food for travel, right?
What's a provision?
Food.
Snacks!
Food.
Food that travels.
Snacks for like a week.
Not like eggs.
Yeah, like a week's worth of stuff that's not gonna go bad because we're gonna be traveling.
Can I interrupt
Hang on.
this?
And he,
Can I interrupt this and just sort of like list out like cured meats or things that'll keep like what I would know to be travel food and like detail it?
could you write it down for me and then I can bring it to the kitchens and
Easily. And I'll make a list of rations
make
for
a
the
list
travel.
without too much trouble? And he takes this list. About an hour goes by and he returns well parceled up. Plenty of rations to last you for about 3 weeks.
Perfect.
These are significantly higher quality than the rations that you were used to.
Perfect.
These are cured meats, but you're getting things more in line with like speck and prosciutto versus like jerky.
Oh, hell yeah.
You're not getting
Mobile charcuterie.
you're not getting just like a hard block of government cheese. You're actually getting something with bloom on the rind, and you're actually pulling out elements of softened cheese that have a fairly pungent smell, more like the blue line. There are jars of pickled vegetables wrapped up in hide. There are a variety of things. You will eat much better over the next 3 weeks than you have in a very long time.
While traveling, at least.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. And then hit up Aishel Weiss's shop. Gunter, did she say where she would be?
She's gonna be around.
That's fair. Is there a specific location?
Market aglow. Market aglow.
Okay.
And
I
you
think that was
remember
near where we
Heinrich.
left the golem, correct?
Yeah,
What?
that's yeah. So maybe we pick that up on the way.
If you could figure out a way to bring it with us, yeah.
I mean, I could figure out a way, but it's probably not the way that you would want to have it go through walls and.
We'll cross that
Such.
bridge when we get to it, I suppose. It seems like a useful tool.
I don't know if we're gonna have to cross any bridges, but we'll probably have to bust down some walls.
Okay, we'll bust that wall down when we...
Yeah, they're
Hit it.
rebuilding the place anyway. You know.
Yeah, they aren't gonna notice if we break a couple more walls to get that thing out.
Perfect.
You could just say I was already there.
Perfect.
Plus, what are they gonna do? Charge their
Doesn't-
heroes?
Doesn't really affect
Possibly.
us, it seems. Let's...
I don't
Maybe
think
head
so.
that
Out
way?
of sight,
Can
out
we-
of mind.
Can we head out?
Up to you guys. So are you
I would
guys
like to
heading
head out.
to the central staircase, or which way do you guys want to go down?
I guess just the most direct way, right? Because it's not like we have to sneak around anymore.
I mean,
Well,
so you
there's
guys would know
potential
if you
danger.
wanted to, you could go back through the Dawnfather Ziggurat, which is the original way you came here, because descending that would lead you to one side of the Bronze Serpent, which you could then traverse directly to the Market Agla, or to Safe Quarter, and then from there up the steps to Market Agla.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
If that's the fastest way, I suppose.
Whatever's the
Okay.
fastest.
They probably
guys-
cleared out all the gibbets at this point.
So, you guys make your way across. You have to exit the Alkin and head a little bit to the east to the Dawnfather Ziggurat. The huge crystal just beaming daylight across the ring of gold at the very top. Entering into the main doors, it's not terribly populated. As you enter in, to your point, Guntir, there is a mound of wrapped up in canvas, slightly stained, about kobold-sized bundles. It seems that there have been a few cleared out. But entering in and descending this large staircase, you begin to make your way through the Dawnfather Ziggurat. The actual Dawnfather Ziggurat. You are no longer traversing through the ventilation shafts of it. You are now traveling the way it was meant to be traveled. And here and there are massive statues of Morwen, the Dawnfather, the original smith. You would actually see there are beautiful anvils that are set into the walls themselves, made of a variety of different metals. And Guntir, you can actually see some that have been tempered to create almost a rainbow of color in the sheen of the metal itself, almost galvanized in ways. You continue to progress, and you can smell dried blood, while the gibbets have been cleared out. It was fairly recent, and there are still here and there pools of darkness that would indicate that there is still cleaning to be done. There is a point, maybe about 20 minutes into your trek, kind of picking here and there. First of all, who's leading this expedition?
The
I guess-
Not me.
typical finger gang lineup.
Okay.
So Heinrich first. Then if
Sure.
it's not, okay. Heinrich,
Yeah.
make a survival check, because you're kind of navigating through. Here and there you pass dwarves, and you can kind of ask for directions, and they'll help you out. But it's a complex structure.
Cool. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, no problem. You follow the central path, and you begin to kind of feel like you're getting lost until a smell comes across you. It is dirtier and a little bit sour and earthy. It is the smell of rot. And your eyes drift up, the one gold, one black, and you see a familiar doorway. And from that, you can kind of triangulate where you are, no problem. Right there to your right is this sort of armory / altar, where you had previously seen kobolds in. The
Mhm.
door here is shut. It is chained.
Oh.
But without too much trouble, you now can easily navigate your way out.
Mhm.
You make your way down through the rest of the Dawnfather Ziggurat. Actually, here and there, you would hear people arguing over the nature of a kobold versus a gibbet. The general consensus is that gibbets have wings, whereas kobolds do not.
Huh.
So congratulations on creating more misinformation within this
Yay.
already injured city. But you make your way out and eventually reach the base. You can actually, so as you emerge, you remember the last time you were here, everything was bathed in this sort of permanent dusk from the ashes constantly falling down from the hundreds of fires within the Ring of Silver. It is still dirty. Ash still blows across the streets here. But whereas before it was this almost dense, crowded in area, whereas the expanse was kind of lost in the smoke is beginning to thin, and you can now appreciate fully the scope of this place. Even with the smoke clearing, you can't see wall to wall necessarily. Buildings rise up, shelves close over your space. There are drawbridges and towers, and this place is massive, but the damage is severe. You can see fires still rage here and there, but not too far away, just maybe 200 yards away, are the elements of the Ring of Silver. That was really cute. Elements of the Ring of Silver that you had picked through. You actually would see not more than 400 feet off Predator and Prey, this shop that you had taken shelter in for some time. Traversing through there, here and there, now you're hearing pickaxes and voices. This is a city that is rebuilding. Here and there in the gloom, you see the shadows and silhouettes of dwarves working together to pull the city back up from the ruins that it has succumbed to. You traverse through these streets of rubble and broken buildings. You enter Safe Quarter. Huge, these are like almost like Boston brownstones, these tall, narrow residences that are sort of this is a richer part of the Ring of Silver, and you make your way to the Bronze Serpent, this long serpent-shaped bridge that winds along the edge of the hollowed-out mountain. You again come to a part that is a little bit narrower than the rest, large area of damage having removed part of the walkway, but already there are supports in place and scaffolding coming together. Nobody's actively working on it at this moment, but it is also being rebuilt. You cross this bridge, now able to see more of the city, down into alleyways and streets that have dwarves, and here and there maybe an elf or even a human traversing across. Much of it is dimly lit, as most, if not all, of the residents here have low light vision at the very least. But you're able to see more. You can see elements of street art. There was once huge murals of almost like graffiti in bits of the alleys, and elements of color from the smoke and the soot do peek out. It's almost as if after a very long winter, the first couple of flowers are springing out of the snow, except in this case it's ash. You eventually reach the Market Aglo, much busier than most parts of the Ring of Silver, and you make your way to the Gibbet Hall Society to see, first of all, there is a large number of dwarves gathered around this hunched-over golem that is almost squashed down to this like waiting mode that you had left it in. You see a banner over the door, put up very recently, and it is just the simple name Aisha Place. It appears that she is setting up shop within the fairly damaged Gibbet Hall Society that you have played a significant part in damaging. Guntir, the hole that you had the golem punch into the ceiling, still very much there, although cleaner. It has been sort of shaped a little bit, and it looks as if perhaps it might be a permanent feature. Yeah, it's something being done.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Is she present anywhere?
You don't see her immediately, but if you do take some time, she is within the structure itself, and you would see here and there flashes of magic as she uses it to clean elements and reshape structures. You actually see a part of the wall. You've seen Mending Cast, as it pulls together little bits of brick to reform. And slowly, this place is coming back together, but changing too.
I'm gonna start going over to the golem to try to like gather it up and reactivate it. Be like, someone going to pick up their lost bike or something.
So Guntir, as you begin to approach, a few of the dwarves recognize you, and you hear, "It's the Slayer of Nightmares," and you hear another just kind of,
Yeah.
"Oh no, he's taller than that." And just
No,
here
that's
and there,
me.
there's things going. But eventually, as soon as people do recognize you, are swarmed. And you find that you cannot quite reach the golem without really pushing people aside. But you may do so.
Oh, excuse me, I gotta get my way. I'm picking up my golem.
And you see this older lady sort of she has this walking stick that she's been sort of shoving things aside with. She smacks one of the dwarves in the knees, and he yelps, and she says, "Nah, out of the way, he wants to go." And little
I
crowd
like you.
parts. See, she winks at you. and licks her lips, one of the teeth clearly
oh.
missing in the front.
Ooh.
Oh.
Do you now?
Well, like
He
in a
does
way
very
that,
much. I can tell.
strictly in a way that I appreciate your violence as a method of solving this issue of a lot of people in my way.
Well, if
I'm
you'd
gonna
like
get
to
my
get
golem
violent
now.
later, feel free to come back.
Well, I've got many heroic things I need to do that involve this golem and leaving this city much quicker than I had first wanted to.
Well, you better get going then. And she takes the cane, and in
I-
a surprisingly agile move, reverses the grip on it and smacks you lightly in the butt.
Oh,
You take a step quickly towards the golem, and you can make your way there now without too much of an issue. There is some light chuckling.
While he's distracted with doing this, can I make the request on behalf of the group to...
Sure, you
the
watch
item?
this happen, and you head into the halls themselves. Morwen, Shae, what are you guys doing?
I think I'm actually just chilling.
Okay, chilling, watching the spectacle that is Guntir.
Following Heinrich, but loosely, like trying to keep an eye on as much as possible.
Sure. You drift behind Heinrich, just almost a shadow weaving along the walls. There's no more Krodek to draw a significant amount of attention. And so you move a lot quieter. But you do miss him.
Very much so.
Heinrich, you enter you step up into the marble halls, and you actually hear her working, and you make your way over to the place that you found the candle, the right room in this building. She turns, and across the dark skin of the drow, the teeth seem almost brilliant as she smiles. Ah. Now,
Edelweiss.
I must say I am very happy to see you, Heinrich.
Yes, it seems that they couldn't
did
have made
your-
up their mind earlier.
Did your friends, did they come? And she seems to be hesitantly, like, looking over your shoulder.
They're outside collecting, well, the golem.
The
You
creature
saw it.
out front.
You must have seen it, yeah. We have means to
Remarkable.
control it. It's quite something. You might want to come
Yes.
out and see once he does get it up and running again, but stay back, I would advise. Just poke your head out the door and just see it in action. It's quite something to behold.
I might take you up on that. But did you have... Please,
Yes, I do.
thank you. What is it that I could do for you?
It may be a much, it may be, and I know you described the extent of the offer. It reaches the boundaries of it. But might
This is
you be
very
able to
interesting.
might you be able to create for us? Who will wield it, I'm not exactly sure, but a ring of telekinesis?
A ring of telekinesis.
I
Such a
have the
thing-
ring, if that would help.
The mundane components, not the difficult parts. But I
I
do
gathered as much.
appreciate the offer. A ring of telekinesis. So, it is something that is possible. I have not done it myself. I only know that that they exist as a principle, not in practice. When would you be needing this?
Depends on how long it would take you to make it. I wouldn't want you to hurry, and you say you haven't made one before, and I don't doubt your abilities, but make a potential misstep just in the name of haste.
You will find that I am very careful.
Well, that's good.
If you do not need it quickly, come to me in about 2 months.
2 months. Okay.
I will have it done by then. Is there a style that you wish?
As mundane and unassuming as possible, should it find its way off of one of our fingers, and
A
You kind of
simple
get the idea.
pewter band, perhaps?
sure.
Easy
Could you
enough.
style it like a finger? Like a finger wrapping around the finger, kind of. You know, the beginning of the
claw
finger.
looking thing?
Yeah, sort of.
If I need to.
Okay, then no. Just a pewter band. quite simple would be all. Maybe on the inside, a marking of some kind, just to.
I will make this clear. I will make you
Noted.
whatever you wish.
Yes.
That seems in poor taste.
I know. It's more of a joke, but then I thought better. More that a simple pewter band on the inside, if you could just inscribe FG. That is all.
Very well. That is simple enough. 2 months.
Okay.
Wait, we all get one, right?
No.
No,
Just one
not of
item.
the ring. I mean, of a favor from her.
No.
Right?
Nope. You
Oh, this
guys
is
have
all
one
for the
favor.
one-
A ring
you
of
just
telekinesis.
cashed it in?
Out of
It's also
game,
like incredibly
for those
really
of
powerful.
you who are not
That
as
anyone
familiar
can
with D&D.
Jackass.
A ring of telekinesis allows you to cast the telekinesis spell upon objects that are not being border held, I believe.
Yeah, but you can also strength contest with your skill ability to like move creatures. So I'd imagine maybe
Perhaps.
to pull it out of them.
I would
But-
check the description on the item because if I remember correctly, the item does
Yeah,
have
you
some
can't-
limitations.
There are
Yeah,
limitations.
You
Yeah.
can't take things that are worn or held by.
Warren for sure. Yeah.
I just know that the telekinesis spell is slightly different than the ring, but yes, you can do a lot of very cool things with it.
Right. That's more the point. It's a utility thing that anyone could technically wield. That was kind of my point of doing this.
Yes. So a wise choice and one that you can certainly have in 2 months.
Cool. Excellent. That gives plenty of time for us to take care of other business and see
No.
how the city shapes up when we return.
Remember too, this was free, but I am a business, and should you require other things
10% discount. I remember.
for life, which for some of you is quite an offer.
Yeah. It is honored that we would receive something like that, and I'm excited to see your work come to fruition on this.
I know.
I have a question for her. So I'm just gonna try to like body surf over all the dwarves.
Okay.
So you
No.
decide to okay.
Noticing that I'm gone. How about that? That's how we can canonize it. Is
What?
noticing that I'm gone. You're like, where did he go? He went inside.
Yeah, sure.
So
I'm alone
as
up there now.
a large group has accumulated around Guntir. It's in total it's probably about 60 dwarves in this area crowding around the outside of the former Gibbon Society. There's a little bit of music being played now. Somebody has produced a set of drums. Somebody has produced a lute. It is not. It is not good music, but it's really the spirit that counts. There's loose chants of Guntir. There's loose chants of Slayer and nightmares and different voices. People are excited,
guys
but
gotta
you
work on
realize
that.
in this moment that Heinrich isn't here, and so Morwen, make a performance check.
Gladly.
Ooh.
That is going to be a 27.
Yeah.
Morwen, you initially begin to kind of like move your way through, and it's difficult, but you sort of stumble and accidentally get your foot onto the knee of a dwarf and sort of realize all of a sudden you're like a foot taller than everybody, and you sort of let the momentum carry you, and getting the idea the crowd moves you like hand over hand across, and you crowd surf your way.
During this, I'm gonna be like, Slayer! Slayer!
So Guntir, all of a sudden you feel great because for once the crowd is able to unite into a single chant. Slayer, Slayer, Slayer. You
Oh
see
my
Morwen,
God.
the tail drift away. But Morwen, you are placed down on the doorstep, and you can enter in, and you see Heinrich engaging with this drow.
Hi, Drow. That's not her name. What's
Nope.
her name again?
Aishel Vice.
My
Aishel
name
Weiss.
is Aishel
Hello.
Weiss.
Hi, do you remember me?
I do.
Okay. I have
You
a
are the
question.
only tabaxi who lives on this entire continent. So
Yeah, that's true. Alright, I wanna ask, can she enchant clothing to like endure all temperatures?
So
Like,
what are you
make
saying
me
to her?
endure it? Is that a thing?
So what are you saying?
Can you make clothing like, I don't know if this is a thing, but enchant it so that like at any temperature I am comfortable, like in freezing cold and like burning hot.
Yes.
I'm good.
There are limitations, so you will still burn should you. Well,
Should I like
I
jump
guess
in
it
lava?
depends.
I'm still probably gonna be crispy.
If you would like protection from something like that, that is specific, that can be done, but it will not range across. You cannot be safe from lava and from ice, for instance. Well, it would be complex.
How
and
much would it?
expensive.
How much would it cost to do like one of either? I mean, is it the same cost either way?
You are looking for what? A ring, a sword? There are many things to consider.
Sure,
What-
ring.
So a ring of immunity to fire. Well,
Yeah, that sounds dope.
given the materials, the time, the expertise, and with a 10% discount, of course. 54,000 pieces of gold.
Noted. I'll
But Morwen, 54,000 pieces of gold to walk across fire. To step
Yeah,
through the
no,
sun
I-
itself, should you wish to do so.
Yeah,
I
no, I'm
think
not
it
saying it's
is-
a bad deal. I just, I gotta check with my accountant if that's in my spending budget. I don't think it is this month. But
It's
I'll-
not!
Says the
maybe
accountant.
Should you find yourself able to procure elements of what I need, I could perhaps reduce the price somewhat.
Ooh, and what would that be?
I would need a pearl of the sun. I would need 3 feathers from a phoenix. I would need either about a pound of red dragon scales or a mote
about
of elemental
purple?
fire.
Oh, okay.
From kind scale.
Maybe.
There are things that I could do with their scales, of course, but nothing related to fire.
Ooh, what could you do with their scales?
Well, perhaps you would like a set of armor that makes you impervious to damage of the psychic type. Or perhaps you wish to have a sword that emanates terror from its very core. There are many things that I could do.
Sounds fun.
Sure.
Cool. All right, bye.
And she goes to wave and you're already gone.
I'm gonna go back to the crowd, and now I'm just gonna be like jamming with them.
Okay. So as soon as you get back, you hear one just kind of go, "She's back!" and poof, up on the crowd. And you're just
Yeah,
like, you're going.
we're just partying now.
Yeah, sure.
I'm partying until everyone's done.
Yeah. Make a charisma check.
Sure.
Guntir's
Just roll a
gonna
flat charisma roll.
turn on the golem to join the party. Like, what's up, everybody?
That's a 17.
Golem
Okay.
in the house.
More when you are just having this great party, you're being propelled through the crowd. You're going down and up, and people are spinning you, and somebody presses a flask into your hands, and you've got rum from
hell
somewhere now.
yeah!
Yeah, it's great. Guntir, you step forward towards the golem, and what do you?
So I want to make a decision on the best way of getting this out of the city so that we can take it with us to, like, help us in our journeys.
Great. So, what decision are you making?
Is it possible, given where we are and given how we've progressed up to here, is it possible to get such a large thing down while it's active, or should I try and enlist the help of all of these people who are beholden to me to carry all the pieces out individually to a safer
Each
place for
has
us to go
pros and
outside?
cons. But Gunter, let me ask you this: do you want that many eyes on you? Because that's free
mean-
labor.
It is free labor, but I mean, they're already on me, right? Like,
Yeah.
all these people already know that we're here. It's more
Why
the
don't we
people
just
that.
go on? Like,
'Cause
why don't
it's-
we just
well,
sell it
'cause-
to this
Because it's
woman?
freaking super powerful and awesome.
It's a
Well,
very
what are we gonna-
strong thing that we
We're
can
gonna bring it to the
use to-
Undercity?
And then out. end with
We'll
this.
bring it
until we don't.
out of. Oh well, yeah. I mean, I guess if we're going through the Undercity, that's the problem.
Unless we don't bring it there.
Heinrich, have you left?
I feel like after the business concluded and then Morwen came in and left, would have exchanged pleasantries. See you in 2 months, maybe sooner.
Well, I'm going to go and take a look at this thing, if you do not mind.
Oh yeah, that's right. Come along then.
So Heinrich and Edelweiss emerge. Edelweiss looks up at this, down actually, it hasn't been activated yet, at this golem. Yeah, that is very interesting. These markings, and she gets close and begins to look at it. I've never seen anything like this before. I would be interested
I've got
to
the
study
instruction manual.
an instruction manual. I think this is unlike anything I've seen. I doubt very much there's documentation.
I've got it right here.
For may I see that?
I take out the book. Well, wait a second.
Okay.
Do you want to maybe make a trade? Because I don't think I'm going to be able to get this thing out.
Are we
Without
talking about the book or the golem?
a package deal, I guess.
Ah,
One with the other.
you know, I have never seen anything like this, so I would be very interested. Yes, I imagine I could make use of it.
Yeah.
What did you have in mind?
Well, I
Does
don't
it
know
work?
how. Oh, it works. I can give you the rundown. So you put something
Why
in
not
here.
Know it.
I guess yeah. What show don't tell is that's what they say, right? So I'll show you. So I'm
Okay.
gonna grab the gauntlet that we still have.
Okay, so you emerge, you pull out this
Reattach
big gauntlet, large, and you just plug it in.
I guess the equivalent of plugging it back in and powering it back on.
Okay.
And I think we took out all the precious metals, so I think for now I'll just put a piece of silver in.
Okay, without
That
too much
seems
trouble.
like one of the more safe choices.
Sure. You put in the piece of silver. You can hear on the inside this kind of low whine, and then very slowly you can see this energy begin to ooze out of it, and the metal itself standing up now, almost 8 feet tall, this massive golem. The crowd parts. There's a few people who scream and run. They've just been under siege for literally.
It's okay.
a month.
It's I'm doing it.
There's one woman just you hear the scream, ah, just down the street and
I'm just
gone into
gonna-
the darkness.
I'm gonna encourage it and just be like, yeah, yeah, Just a
Yeah.
party act.
Woo!
And so the people
heroes!
immediately around Morwen, there's this moment of hesitation, but as Morwen starts cheering, they start cheering. Morwen, you're hoisted back up again. There's still people who are uncertain, but for the moment, it calms a little bit. She looks up at this creature. That is very impressive. And so you just
You know-
power it with silver.
Well, you can put in anything, and well, not anything, but you can put in a lot of stuff, and it does different things.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they're all
Yes.
there's a list in the manual. Yeah.
I would be very interested in this, yes.
So what's the starting bid?
So again, it seems that you don't quite understand how this works.
God.
I can make
Holy
you
shit.
a variety of things, or if you would just like gold, that is also
Ah.
doable.
Well, what kind of thing is this worth?
I will be honest with you, I do not know. This is unique. It is not something that I've seen, and it seems to be very advanced. I
It
would
is.
imagine. It is hard for me to deal with you because yesterday, when you had a choice of almost anything, you were unable to think of anything.
Well,
So I
you
do
put
not
me
know
on
what
the
to
spot.
offer.
You know, I've also got some dragon bits and some Shrenu fingers. I don't know. You do anything with that kind of stuff?
I don't collect just spare body parts. Who would do that?
You know, it's adventuring trophies.
And at that
If you
point,
kill the
like,
dragon, you'd understand why you'd want to keep the pieces of the dragon.
And not hearing the conversation, I'm just gonna get the crowd to start ironically chanting, "Finger gang! Finger gang!"
I'm gonna have the golem go, fingers just like.
So you can just see the hands. And just begin to do this little dance. Some of the dwarves begin to imitate it. You hear behind, woo! She looks at this. I genuinely do not know what to do with you.
Now, a lot of people don't. Keep them on their toes.
If you can think of something that you would like, please, I would love to trade. But
How about some, like, a nice new armor and weapon set or something? I don't know. I'm gonna be going and slaying more monsters, probably.
so
I want to.
I would
don't
butt
want
in
to
at this
die.
point. I'd butt in at this point and just kind of like quietly out of earshot of Guntir to Aeshelvice.
It's
Just say
never out of my shot.
I just like
Gunter- yeah,
quietly.
Gunter's pretty good at perceiving
be like-
things, but
He takes a lot of hits in combat. Anything to help with that.
Gunter,
Extra protective armor, if you will.
Gunter, I noticed that you have acquired some new armor recently. I
It's
am
not
sure
my
that
favorite.
you would not. Well, then maybe this would be a bit easier. If you were to leave that, perhaps I could make it a bit more effective for you.
No, I'm listening.
I think that was it, Gunter.
That was
Now
entirely.
the crowd's gonna
what I
be
had to say.
chanting,
Ah.
"Take the deal! Take that deal!"
Make a decision. Do
Do
something.
it.
It sounds more confusing
Do
further
it.
away because Morwen starts yelling, "Take the deal," and then like they have no idea what's going on. But as it transfers and gets closer to you within the crowd, it kind of ripples forwards. They understand what's happening. So weirdly, it sounds more confident coming from the area around you than around Morwen. But without too long, and actually, all of you can hear because it's now echoing through this streetway.
Minor
The
illusion
deal,
banners
take
and
the
sprites.
deal.
Just take the deal. Take the deal.
Take the deal. Banners go up everywhere.
And I have
and
Nod's
people begin
head
to
just to the
clap.
beat. Nod's head is take the deal. Take the deal.
There's a lot going on at the moment. But in this storm of chaos, Gunter, to you, Aeshelvice is still and quiet. And she looks at you, these eyes almost going straight through. So,
All right, so I guess that works, but I need some sort of guarantee you're not gonna wreak havoc with this thing, because it's got some good havoc wreaking potential.
let me ask you this, Gunter. Do you believe that I would wreak more havoc with it than you would?
No, probably not, but you know, I'd feel more. You know, it's sort of like a control thing. You know, if I'm the one wreaking havoc, then it's fine. But if
Make a
someone
persuasion
else is
check,
wreaking
Gunter.
havoc,
Woohoo! What's my? I think I have pretty good persuasion. Hold on. It's a base of 18 plus. I'm a pretty persuasive gunt. That's dirty 20. Oh, I'm not as persuasive.
You can see
It's my
behind
deception is good.
the dark features of this drow. The hood is back, and so you can see, the white hair. But it's hard to read the dark features, but you can almost swear you can see a little bit of a smile. Control is something that I understand. I cannot guarantee that I will not wreak havoc, but my intentions for this are as a deterrent, if you will. You've seen what could happen in a place such as Gotaram. Should something bad happen again, I would like this line of defense so that nothing ruins this beautiful structure. And she gestures towards this massive hole in the ceiling.
well, that's actually a funny story. that I'm
Yes.
not going to tell you.
I figured. If
Not
you
at
leave
all
your armor
related.
with me, when your friend returns for his, yours will be ready
Okay.
as well.
Oh, so you enchant things, right?
That is why I'm called the Enchanter, yes.
Can you do anything with this?
I take out the
Break the skull.
uvula.
No, just kidding.
You can see
The-
immediately her lip curls back a little bit. You see the teeth exposed a bit more. Where did you obtain that?
The dragon that we just killed, and
From Kindscale. I
Yeah.
do not wish to touch that or have it near me, if that is okay with you.
all right, your loss.
No.
All right, well, tomato, tomato.
You should be very careful keeping that on you.
It's fine. It's in my bag. It's not leaking or anything.
But the Shadowfell is always trying to escape. That is
But it's-
a dangerous thing.
Pretty tight bag.
She's like looking around for Heinrich.
I'm right next to her. I'm just kind of like, so it seems like it's a deal then. Guntir, can you
Yes.
seal this somehow
Okay,
so we can
yeah,
be on our way
well,
to your den
so
copper kiln and
here's-
then out?
Here's the owner's manual, I guess, and there you go.
She takes it. Thank you very much for this. And as you transfer the owner manual, the golem shuts down, immediately crouches into that like resting position. All the cheering dwarves, there's like a few of them jump away. You can hear, accept the deal and Guntir and Slayer, like all of these things now kind of blended together. There's a brief kind of shriek, everything stops, and then another cheer. They're not really sure what's happened, but they're having a pretty good time as long as nobody's dying. And you have now made a deal with Edelweiss. You will be able to pick up your completely unspecified armor in the same time that Heinrich is.
I still have the roll of dragon scales, right?
You do not. You sent those away to be.
Oh, no, I sent them away,
manufactured
yeah.
for you. Yeah.
Well, didn't they already come back as a?
Oh yes, they did.
roll
Yeah.
of-
So you would have that. You would have that roll of kind scales hide, and then the
Yeah.
individual scales. Yes.
Say like, hey, can you do anything with these?
Oh my god.
Incorporate this
All right.
into the enchanted armor.
If you would like me to, yes, I could.
Yeah,
That's not a bad idea.
I am the slayer of nightmares, so if I,
First that goes
it's,
over.
it's fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This does give me some ideas for this item of yours. So
Great,
I think you'll.
because I
find
have
it.
none.
I know. I think you'll find it to your liking. It will protect things that need protecting.
Yeah, well, I need protecting, so that's good.
Only you're not going to be protected for 2 months, but that's cool.
That's okay. I survived this long.
So Guntir, you take off your armor. What are you putting on?
I guess I'll put on the
Obsidian's haste one.
the old leather armor that I have.
So we're back
Yeah.
to
Okay.
square one.
So you
We're
put on
passing
the
through the under,
old
through the dark, or,
original Guntir armor. You all now find yourselves outside of the Gibbon Hall, the Gibbon Society Hall. There are cheering dwarves. There is an inert golem. There is a drow, and all of you. But because it is midnight, this seems like a good place to stop for the evening. So, thank you guys very much for joining in, for tuning in, for sticking along during the adventure, for all of the long conversations that take place on Adventures in Alberon. I always plan so far ahead, and I never need to, and I don't know why I don't learn. But
It's ready for whenever eventually we can get there.
maybe.
Eventually.
Have you ever tried talking to an elderly person? It's
Every
it goes
week on
on and
Fridays
on.
at 8:30 p.m. Eastern
Yeah,
Standard Time.
It's on and on.
So, anyways, thank you guys very much for tuning in. As a reminder, next week we will not be doing our regular campaign, but we will be here at 8:30 p.m. for the original one-shot, The Frostline, with guest friend and guest special guest and friend, Ariana, who will be playing a character in Shae's backstory. This will be a lot of fun. But until next week, stay safe. It is crazy out there, and we'll see you then. Good night.